A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I Believe. David R. Showalter is Director of Public Affairs for KNX Hollywood and the CBS Pacific Radio Network. In addition to his other duties, he is responsible for getting thoughtful people in his area to put their beliefs into 600 words for broadcast on this program. One of his toughest assignments was to get himself to put down David Showalter's own creed.
I've found in my short 38 years of experience that I have come closest to truth when the going has been the toughest. When to all intents and purposes I seemed lost, it was then and only then I turned to that infinite, loving, and mysterious being that is in all of us, that is not man, but God. It's a strange commentary on humanity in general, and me in particular, that I must find the simple answer to the peace that passeth all understanding, something we all either consciously or unconsciously seek, in those times when I am lost just as surely as I had suddenly found myself in a great trackless waste of desert with nothing in the world to guide me. 4 people are responsible in the main for my basic beliefs, even as poorly as I have adhered to them along the way. 5, including my pastor, who in the last 5 years that I have really been going to church, has helped me crystallize my rather vague beliefs into some semblance of a basic motivating force. I can still see my grandmother, with whom my sister and I spent a number of our early years. When I had done or said something I shouldn't have, she used to require me to stick out my tongue, on which she placed the most awful concoction imaginable, ground-up vegetable compound. I came to her expecting this treatment, reporting my infraction to her. She somehow or other managed to find out about it anyhow, I soon learned. I knew that it was bitter-tasting, horrible stuff, but it wasn't as bad as a switch across the backs of the knees for being dishonest. She taught me one of the most valuable lessons I have ever learned: to face squarely up to a problem, no matter how serious it might be. My mother, in her unfailing ability to understand, no matter what the problem might be, taught me another helpful lesson, twofold as a matter of fact. I found that problems are pretty much the same for all of us, experienced by all of us, and not at all unusual, no matter how unique they seem to be. Most important, I found that by bringing them out in the open, where they could be discussed perfectly naturally, they soon ceased to exist. Pops Drake, the nearest thing to a dad I ever had, the boys' work secretary of the Tacoma, Washington YMCA, taught me a valuable lesson, too. He gave me my first insight into the kind of reward that service to God and fellow man brings, for his was a life of positive, result-bringing service like I had never seen, nor expect to see, equaled. He taught me many things which I can only summarize here by saying he taught me to be a man. And he did it by placing me in a position of leadership where truly I first began to lose myself because of responsibility to others, and by taking me outside of those concerns which were purely of self, he helped me find myself. No story about me is complete without Verna, with whom I will celebrate my 19th wedding anniversary this year. She has contributed so much that it is impossible to deal with here. But above all else, she has never torn down anything I have constructed, no matter how flimsy the framework or how futile the building. She has always allowed me to be a man, has always expected me to be a man, regardless of how short of the mark I have fallen. This, then, I believe, that I am born for a specific purpose, to serve God and my fellow man. I must lose myself in this kind of service without regard to material reward, if I am to find myself. I must love my God with all my heart, all my might, and all my mind, and all the things I need will be added unto me. I say I must, but this is not completely accurate. I find I simply can't help myself. I find this the continuous knock on the door that I can't fail to answer.
They're the beliefs of David R. Showalter, Director of Public Affairs for KNX Hollywood. He enjoys camping, writing, singing, reading, and sports. But he is most interested in the family group, his consisting of a wife and 2 children.
The Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
You know, Ethelbert, you and I have a good chance to be famous.
How's that, Casey?
Well, I figure if a man's known by the company he keeps,
Yeah?
then he ought to be known by the company that keeps him.
That makes sense.
And the company that keeps us is...
Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Photo of the Dead. 9 o'clock in the evening, the big, untidy photographer's room of the Morning Express. The door opens, and Ann Williams.
Gosh, it's hot, Casey. Let's go over to the Blue Note.
Oh, Annie, I'd like to get out of this joint for a while, but Dad Phelan phoned about half an hour ago and said he wanted to see me. He's making a special trip down here.
Dad Phelan?
Sure, you met him. He runs a little stationery and cigar store
Yes,
uptown.
of course. He lost his wife last year.
That's
We went
right.
to her funeral.
Yeah, Aunt Maggie, her name was.
Well, what does he want to see you about?
Well, he said he wanted my advice about something. What? He didn't say. Well, there he is now. Hi, Dad.
Oh, Casey, my boy.
Hey, it's good to see you.
It's always good to see you.
You remember Annie Williams, don't
Oh,
you?
of course. How are you, Miss Williams?
Just fine, Mr. Phelan.
Now, sit down, Dad.
Thanks. I've got something to tell you, boy.
Oh, what's on your mind?
Casey, I've heard from Maggie.
Huh?
She's come back to me from the dead.
Oh, Mr. Phelan.
I've heard her voice, and she sent me her picture from the other world.
Her picture?
Boy, you know that after Maggie died, well, we'd been together for nearly 50 years, and I didn't know what to do with myself.
I know.
So I started to read books that told how the dead sometimes are able to communicate with the living.
Books on psychic phenomena?
Yes, Miss Williams. There's a bookshop on 12th Street, Jameson's, that has a lot of those books.
Yeah, I passed it.
Yeah, very nice lady runs it. I went in there a lot. We got acquainted, and one day she told me about a man. Man with remarkable powers.
So you went to him.
Yeah, and last Thursday night, a week ago, boy, Maggie spoke to me while I was there.
What did this man charge you?
He wouldn't take a penny.
Huh?
Here, Casey, look at this picture. You see what had happened? Above my right shoulder.
Oh, there's a ghostly face of a woman, Casey.
Yeah.
And it's Maggie's face. You recognize it, boy.
Yes.
Casey, this picture couldn't have been made by a trick, could it? Maggie was really with me last night, wasn't she?
Yes, sure she was with you, Dad.
The photo's not a fake? You know.
No, it's not a fake.
So glad to hear you say that.
Casey.
Now, hold it, Annie. Say, Dad, what's the name of this man who took this shot?
Well, it's kind of a funny name. Feda Narsi. He's an East Indian fella.
He's one of those swamis, huh?
He's a fine man.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Where does he live?
Well, he has a big house on Rankin Avenue, 142. Why?
I just wondered. Oh, excuse me, Dad.
Yeah.
Hello, Casey speaking. Yeah. Okay, Burke, I'll be right up. That was City Desk calling, Dad. I'm sorry, I've got to rush upstairs.
Go right ahead, boy. I'll be going. Anyway, you've told me what I wanted to know, and you've made me very happy.
Well, I'm very glad.
Good night, Miss Williams.
Good night, Mr. Phelan.
Good night to you, boy. And a million thanks.
Good night, Dad.
Casey, that photograph can't be on the level.
Of course it isn't. It's a crude double exposure. That ghost face was taken from an old picture of Aunt Maggie that this Feda Narsi fella got hold of somewhere.
Well, why didn't you tell the old man that?
Oh, Annie, how could I? Dad wants to believe that this thing's on the level. He's happy tonight for the first time since his wife died. But, Annie, after I finish whatever assignment Burke has for me upstairs, I'm going to pay an unsocial call on Swami Feda Narsi. Oh, hey, Burke, what do you mean? You're sending me out of town tonight?
That's what I said, Casey. I just had our Detroit correspondent on the phone. He tells me a honey of a murder broke out there. You may be gone 2 weeks, maybe a month.
And I'm not going?
Casey's on this job alone, Williams. You stay here. Now take this to the cashier and get your expense money, Casey. Your train leaves in 45 minutes.
Burke, I ought to see a guy tonight. Here.
You can't. Get going, Casey. I want pictures from Detroit tomorrow.
Okay. Well, Dad Phelan's been looking after himself for over 70 years. I guess he can do it without my help a few weeks longer.
Hello.
Miss Williams?
Yes.
This is long distance. I have your call through to
Oh,
Detroit.
thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Hello?
Hello, Casey.
Annie, gee, it's great to hear your voice. Anyway, what's up?
Look, something's happened that we think you ought to know about.
What?
I'm at police headquarters with Captain Logan. A few hours ago, your friend, Dad Phelan, was found dead.
Dad Phelan?
Yes, Casey. And Captain Logan thinks that Swami Feda Nazi was responsible for his death.
Well, come on, Logan. Let's have the dope on it.
Al Phelan didn't open his store this morning, Casey. A cop on the beat got worried, broke in, and found your friend dead in the back room.
He just died in his sleep, huh?
Yeah. I talked to Miss Williams after she phoned you, Casey, and we pieced the thing together. Beside the old man's body was that spirit photograph of him and his wife. And in his pocket, we found a bank book that had apparently represented his life savings. The balance was only $21. But until 4 days after Miss Williams says he called on you with the express, the balance had been $6,021.
The fake Swami got the $6,000.
Yeah. The shock of losing his life savings and learning that the Swami was a fake was too much for him.
The Swami gave him the usual routine.
Yeah, racketeers of his type are all alike. After the victim is convinced he's in contact with the dead, he gets a spook message telling him to hand over some money, usually for an investment the ghost recommends. The dough is passed over in cash, and we cops can't do a thing.
Logan, that Swami killed that old man just as surely as though he'd stuck a gun in his head and pulled the trigger.
I know it, but he's not a murderer in the eyes of the law. We can't even prove him a thief.
You question him?
Naturally. He denied everything.
Well, Logan, I'll talk to Swami Feda Nazi.
It won't get you anywhere.
Well, I'll see you later.
Now, what are you going to do?
Well, from what you say, there's only one thing I can do. Beat that guy to a pulp.
Good afternoon.
Are you Feda Nazi?
No, sir.
Oh, just a servant, eh?
Yes,
Well, I want to see your boss.
What is your name?
Casey.
You have appointment with the master?
No.
Feda Narsi received no visitor except by appointment.
Well, he received me, big guy. Get out of my way.
Wait. Nobody pass Lucky.
Lucky.
Yes, master.
I will see the gentleman for a moment. What is it you wish, Mr. Casey?
So, you...
I am Feda Nazi. What do you wish?
Hasn't your crystal ball told you?
As the police have made some baseless insinuations that cannot be proven, I imagine you are about to do something equally foolish.
Yeah. I'm going to knock that grin off your face and your teeth along with it.
Yes, sir.
Take your hands off of me. Let me go, will you?
Lucky, my devoted servant is a Senegalese.
That-
They are noted for their skill in fighting. Lucky, teach Mr. Casey that it will be very unwise for him to trouble us again.
It will be a pleasure, sir.
Splendid, Lucky. Now pick Mr. Casey up from where he's fallen and throw him out the door.
Our story will continue in just a moment. Here's a bargain, a real bargain. A big 9.5-inch pie plate made of beautiful Fire King oven glass, guaranteed for 2 years against oven breakage. Its highly polished surface is as smooth as a mirror, comes clean almost instantly. It's as attractive on your table as it is sturdy and practical in your kitchen. And here's the most important point of all. This new kind of Fire King pie plate practically assures results every time. Its pale blue glass absorbs oven heat so evenly that your pies bake all the way through, The crust is light and flaky with no danger of scorching. Now, to get this new pie plate, it's not necessary to sit down and write a letter. Simply go to your favorite 5 and 10 cent store or any other store selling household glass and ask for the special Fire King oven glass pie plate being offered over the air at 25 cents, or slightly more in distant cities. Remember the name, Fire King oven glass. This new Fire King oven glass pie plate is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
You're certainly a pretty picture, Casey. 2 black eyes, a lump on your jaw.
You don't have to give me a bruise-by-bruise description of how I look, Ethelbert. I know how I look.
Ethelbert, that big Senegalese prize fighter might have killed him.
Oh.
I know how you feel, pal, but you've gone at this thing all wrong. Rough stuff will get you nowhere.
That's great. You got any suggestions?
No. Captain Logan says there's nothing he can do, huh?
What can the cops do unless they can prove that Nazi got Mr. Phelan's money and got it under false pretense?
Must be some way to get evidence.
Why doesn't Logan detail one of his dicks to pose as a sucker and pass this Nazi a couple of marked bills?
Well, that's been tried several times, but Nazi's too wise. Casey, I might be able to get the goods on Fata Nazi.
Oh, you?
Yeah. No one would ever take me for a cop. I could go to Nazi and tell him I'd lost a sister, for instance, and I'd let him believe that I had some money, and he'd work his racket on me, and then I'd pass him marked bills, and we'd have him.
Sure, it'd be a cinch, Casey.
Oh, yeah. It'd be a complete bust,
Oh,
that's
now
what it'd
why?
be. Do you think anybody gets into Narzi's joint unless he knows who they are and all about them, Annie? You see, it's part of his racket to have the lowdown on people who come to him.
Oh, you mean he'd look me up and find out I'm Ann Williams, who works for the Morning Express?
Yeah, he sure would. Say, wait a minute. I've got an idea.
What?
Burke was telling me some of his recent family history a few days before I went to Detroit. He can give us the gimmick we need behind this thing.
Burke?
Your city editor?
Yeah. Boy, and will he do it when he sees it as the build-up for an exclusive feature story. Annie, come on. We're talking to Burke right now.
You're right, Casey. It's a natural. Williams, you'll check into an uptown hotel here tomorrow night as Marilyn Phillips of Portland, Oregon.
Which is the real name and home address of your wife's first cousin, right?
Yes, as Casey remembered my telling him, Marilyn lost her mother several months ago.
Where's Miss Phillips now, though, Bert?
Traveling in Mexico, so that'll be all right. She's about your size and coloring, Williams. I'll have my wife tell you enough about Marilyn Phillips tonight so that you can borrow her identity without any chance of a slip-up. When this Fata Nazi checks her, he'll think you're the real McCoy.
Well, how will I get to Nazi? I can't just walk up to his front door.
You get to him the same way Dad Phelan did. You go to Jameson's occult bookshop and become a steady customer. The old dame who runs the place is probably a shill for Nazi.
Oh, I get it. I pose as a grief-stricken daughter with money, and let her and him do the rest.
That's the play. After you check into the hotel as Marilyn Phillips, you're not to come near this office, near your apartment, or with anyone you know, till this job's finished.
Wait a minute now, Burke. You mean...
I mean especially that she can't go anywhere near you, Casey. That'd give the whole show away.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
I'll see that you receive plenty of expense money, Williams. You'll report to me by phone. That's all.
She can talk to me by phone, too.
Well, what does she want to talk to you for?
Yes. Why should I?
Well, thought I might be able to help or something.
Burke will attend to everything.
Sure, Casey. I'll attend to everything.
Oh, that's just swell.
City desk, Burke speaking.
It's me, Burke. I'm getting acquainted with Mrs. Jameson, but she hasn't suggested I see our man yet.
You've only been on the job 10 days. This will take time. Stick with it.
Casey, what on earth has happened to Miss Williams? It's almost 3 weeks since I seen her in here. And
Miss Williams is away, Ethelbert. And who cares?
Hey, you don't have to bite my head off.
You've been coming in here for over a month now, Miss Phillips. I feel that I know you well enough to offer a suggestion that may soften your great sorrow.
Well, the only thing that can help me, Mrs. Jameson, is if I could see my mother again, or...
Well, perhaps you can. I know a remarkable man, Miss Phillips. A man of almost miraculous powers. His name is Theda Narcy.
Sit down, Miss Phillips.
Oh, thank you.
I see things in the crystal ball. I see a lady there whom you loved very dearly.
My mother?
Yes. Her name was Alice.
The woman who sent me here must have told you that.
Be not hasty in your judgment, Miss Phillips. You were born October 4th, 1922. Your home was 47 Vista Road, Portland, Oregon. Your middle name is Celestine. Your mother's maiden name was McClintock. She's very close to you now, Miss Phillips. Very close.
Can you make me see her, Swami? Or hear her voice?
Later, perhaps. Come to me on Thursday next. In the meantime, I will pray that the one you love beyond the veil will speak to you and give you comfort. Go now. I'm very weary.
Yes, Swami. How much do I owe you?
Owe me? Oh, my dear child, I make no charge for my services, ever. My mission in life is to serve mankind.
Oh, he merely gave you the old build-up today.
Yes, Burke. Of course, someone in Portland sent him the information about Marilyn Phillips and her mother.
Yeah, Budge and his racket have contacts all over. Call me again after you see him Thursday. Goodbye.
Wait a minute, Burke.
Huh?
How's Casey?
In very bad humor. Goodbye.
Sit very still, Miss Phillips. The psychic force is strong in me tonight. I feel the spirit presence of one who has passed beyond.
You, think, Swami, that my mother...
I cannot tell. I am sinking into trance. Hold my hands tightly. Look closely at the crystal, and soon you may hear the voice of the dead.
It's so dark in here.
Trance. I'm sinking into...
Swami, what... That knocking. Something's knocking on the table, Swami, and it isn't you. Oh, that music. Where's it coming from? I'm afraid, Swami. I'm afraid.
Have no fear, my daughter.
That voice.
It is your mother's, darling.
Mother?
I'm with you, Marilyn, here. This good man has helped me make the journey from the land beyond to bring you comfort.
I can't see you, Mother.
I have more to tell you, my dear. Now the force is growing weak. Trust this good man. Trust Theda Narcy, and I will come to you again through him. Come again, and I will have more to tell you.
Oh.
Swami Narcy. Swami Narcy.
Was it a success, Miss Phillips?
Oh, you don't know what happened?
I was in trance. I never know.
My mother talked to me. She said that she had more to tell me.
We shall assist her then. Come to me next Wednesday. Hold my hands tightly, Miss Phillips.
Yes, Swami.
I am sinking into trance. Sinking into...
Those knocks. And that music again. Mother?
Yes, my darling.
Come closer and let me really see you.
That is beyond my power, dear. I have but little time. I'm so worried about you, my child.
Worried about me?
I left you so little money when I passed behind the veil. You must have more, much more, and you shall have it. I will point the way. Tomorrow, take your money from the bank.
Take my money from the bank?
Give it to this good man, Faded Narcy. He will invest it for you. Invest it so it will be doubled, tripled in amount. When that is done, your mother will be happy.
You will tell Faded Narcy how to invest my money, Mother?
I shall guide his every action. And I know all things, dear. Through him, I will make you rich. Promise, darling.
Yes, Mother, yes. I'll bring Tommy Narcy the money tomorrow.
You made me very happy. I must leave you now, darling. I must go.
Oh, then the ghost voice faded out, huh?
Yes, Bert. And when Narcy snapped out of his trance, I told him I'd bring him $10,000 that Mother left me at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I'll send you the money by messenger. Call me when you get it, and we'll check on the final plan.
Okay, Bert.
Goodbye. Well, Casey, tomorrow night will be the payout.
Yeah?
Cops will be posted around the house before Williams goes in. When she comes out, the cops will take it as a signal, close in, get the Swami with those marked bills in his possession, and that's that.
There's also going to be a witness when that money is passed.
Who?
Me.
Why, you're the last guy in the world who could get into that house.
I've been casing that joint, Burke. There's a big window in Narcy's chamber with a strong trellis leading up to it. The window is painted black inside, but if Anne can get it open just a few inches...
You can see and hear what's going on.
And I can take a picture of Anne giving that rat the dough. I'll use an infrared bulb that shows no glare.
It'll make a swell shot for the paper.
And for evidence in court. Will you tell Anne to get that window open?
I certainly will. Leave it to Williams. She'll get it open somehow.
I've brought the money, Swami.
Oh, yes, the money.
You'll return it to me, and much more besides, as Mother said.
Miss Phillips, through spirit guidance, I have made many fortunes for other people. I am not interested in money myself.
Oh, there's $10,000 here. All I have.
Well, I will accept and invest it as a sacred trust.
Here.
Thank you. What was that?
I didn't hear anything.
We'll see. This window. So, Mr. Casey.
Hello, Narcy.
Step off that trellis and into this room with your camera. As you see, I have a gun.
Yes, I see.
Now close the window.
Okay.
I am always alert for frame-ups.
Yes, the guy in your racket has to be.
You will give me the film you just exposed?
What good will it do you? I saw you take the dough.
Your testimony and that of Miss Phillips will be utterly valueless if the money cannot be found in my possession. It's quite obvious that I have been given marked bills, but they're easily destroyed.
Casey, if he destroys the papers $10,000, I'll have to pay it back. I'll be in debt the rest of my life.
He won't destroy it.
Don't move, Mr. Casey. I shoot. Now take the film from your camera and toss it into the copper bowl on this table.
Okay.
I place your marked money in the bowl with it. Now strike a match, Mr. Casey, and burn them.
That gun makes you the boss.
Oh, Casey, when we tell Burke you burned the papers and
It
money...
is very probable that you will not be believed. There will be a large suspicion that you kept it for yourself.
That doesn't bother me so much as the idea that you might beat this rat, Narcy.
I shall beat it. Now strike a match and burn that evidence.
Okay. Money and the film in this bowl beside your crystal ball. Right at you, Narcy.
Knock the gun out of his hand.
Get it, Annie, quick.
Looky.
That big prize fighter.
Come here, Looky, help.
That's the guy I want to see again.
Take this gun. You'll need it.
No, I won't.
Looky.
I'm here, Master. You weren't expecting that crystal ball in your face, were you? Now, that'll hold you. Now, Swami Nazi, would you like to gaze into your crystal ball? Or can you guess what's going to happen?
Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
This is for Dad Phelan. Things for Annie. This one's for me. And now, Annie, you can bring in the cops.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. No wonder the new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle is sweeping America. Think of all the extras it brings you at no extra cost. Extra number 1.
It requires no deposit, no bother with pennies.
Extra number 2.
You don't have to return it. No trouble with empties.
Extra number 3.
It's light as a feather, easy to carry, unnatural for picnics.
Extra number 4.
It's sturdy and compact. Save space in the icebox.
Extra number 5.
It's easy to open, safe to drink from.
Extra number 6.
It's at home on any table.
Extra number 7.
And, brother, what flavor, that true brewery flavor that only glass can bring you.
Yes, here's the bottle that makes beer and ale easy to enjoy. The Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle. For flavor that's brewery bright, demand beer in bottles. For safety and convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way, no-deposit bottle. Product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Cops got the whole gang of them, huh, Casey?
Yes, Ethelbert.
Including Mrs. Jameson, the dame who also impersonated Narzi's spook.
That's swell, Miss Williams. And it's swell to see you around here again. I've missed you since you've been away on that case.
Oh, thanks, Ethelbert.
Yeah, that's right. We've all... say, Annie, it's kind of a nice night. How about you and me taking a walk?
Why?
Well, just because it's kind of a nice night.
So long, Ethelbert.
So long, Ethelbert.
So long, so long. As my sister Edna says, quote, absence makes the brain grow dumber. And a walk on a nice night may be dangerous business for an unmarried bachelor. Unquote.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass. Anchor glass containers, Anchor caps and closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town. So stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Professor Dennis Brogan is one of those public figures that some think of as four people crammed into one. The general public in Britain first heard of him in 1944, when he took part in the BBC's Transatlantic Quiz, with such sardonic characters as Christopher Morley, David Niven, and John Mason Brown. Before that, however, he was well known to students of French history for his book, The Development of Modern France. He has also earned a reputation as a British authority on American history and Americans. He is now a professor of political science at Cambridge University. Here now is Dennis Brogan.
What do we mean by believe? Do we mean know? Do we mean feel? I believe that Washington is the capital of the United States. I also know it. I believe that the United States is a good thing, but in the same sense I can't and don't know it. When I say believe in this talk, I shall be talking of things that I hope and believe to be true, but which I know are guesses, speculations, things hoped for, not things known. The next point that I must make clear is that I don't know what the universe is about. Millions believe that they do, Christians, Jews, Muslims. All I know is that I don't belong to them. The Scottish Shorter Catechism begins by affirming that the chief ends of man are to glorify God and enjoy Him forever. People who believe that have another term of reference. What I believe is concerned with this world, with my place, duties, possibilities in it. Well, what in that context do I believe? I have learned to believe that the object of life isn't and can't be happiness. The young, subject as they are to miseries and emotional shocks and disappointments, still cling to the belief that given certain conditions, happiness, pretty uninterrupted happiness, is at hand. The American young especially believe this. I believe that happiness is a byproduct. You must want the girl or the job for itself, as a good in itself. Happiness may come, but only if you want the other things first. I've got in the word good, a dangerous word in modern times. I believe that it has a meaning that can't be reduced to other meanings. We were all taught that, but we have to learn it as well. And that is a converse. For we eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the older we get, the greater the danger of gliding over the difference. This is what Shelley meant when he wrote of the contagion of the world's slow stain. What Bernard Shaw meant when he wrote that every man over 40 is a scoundrel. I believe that every man needs watching, and the one who needs watching most is myself. You're not likely often to be too hard on yourself. Even if other people behave worse, you're not responsible for them. And I don't believe that peace of mind is the state to aim at. Idiots have peace of mind. People have undergone dichotomy of peace of mind. You ought to be uneasy. I believe that I ought to be uneasy. Then I believe that love is more fertile than the most efficient hate. The great sin of the modern world is legitimized hate, legitimized by political passion. It's an attractive trap. I fall into it frequently, but it's a trap. The other trap is making passion do the work of intelligence. For I believe that you can go as wrong badly by intellectual passion as you can by sexual passion, passion for money, and so on. A zealous Catholic, who was a very good poet, Hilaire Belloc, once wrote, "There's nothing worth the wear of winning but laughter and the love of friends." There are worse views of life, and I believe that if forced to choose inside that narrow frame, I'd drop the laughter. For life, I believe, is something more and better than the best joke.
That was my old friend, Professor Dennis Brogan of Cambridge University, England. His red face and black-rimmed glasses give him a rather gentle, owlish appearance. But his Scotch accent and forthright opinions sting and bristle still.
Does not pay. Don't shoot. Please don't shoot.
Keep your hands up and nobody will get hurt. Where's your cash?
In the desk, in that corner.
I'll get it. Make him give you the keys to the jalopy, Jeff.
Hurry, Lucy. You, give me the keys to that car. It's not mine. I only fixed it. One's good? Yeah, good. Don't hit me. Don't touch me. Shut up. Give me the keys. Here. Keep away from me.
$40, Jeff. More cash than we've seen in years. Got the key? Let's go.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects.
In just a moment, you will hear The Second-Hand Pistol, starring Nancy Coleman. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Nancy Coleman as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistol. The background was a mining town in the hills of West Virginia. Coal dust, tar paper shacks, a dozen brothers and sisters. Marriage came at 15 because there was no room left in the house. A child was born at 16. 8 years later, the struggle for existence brought mother and child alone to a nearby railroad town where there was a job for the mother. This was Lucy Minden, who took up with Jeff Gardner to try again. With Jeff Gardner, a lost and lonely soul like herself.
Ma, is Daddy Jeff crying?
Dodie, go in the back and play.
Why is Daddy Jeff crying, Ma?
Dodie, go in the back and play.
Now, let him stay, Lucy. Let him stay and find out what we're up against.
Dodie, I told you something.
Yes, Ma, I'm going.
I'm going out, Jeff.
What for? What's the use?
We've got to have some cash money. I'll get it.
No. You hear me? No.
I never was good enough for you, Jeff.
You? Not good enough for me? What'd I ever bring you?
We were happy, Jeff. We are happy together.
The first time you waited on me in the station diner. You knew I was broke, but you made me eat. It was the first decent thing anybody done for me in years.
I liked your looks right off, Jeff. I knew you were better than me. You weren't born in no mine shanty.
What's happened since we took up together? What?
We had some good times.
Yeah, but mostly bad. You try to be a salesman, nobody buys. You work at anything, even track walking. Anything to make $1 for your woman and her kid. You get hurt on the job. You're out 3 months. You come back. The job's gone. No money. No food in the house. Not even a lump of coal. In the mine country.
I'm going out, Jeff.
No, you're not. Lucy, we've tried. We've tried every way we know and a few we didn't know, to be honest. If I can't earn for you two honest, then I'll be dishonest.
How? What could he do?
I've been thinking like crazy. It's coming on spring. I can pawn the coats, my suit. The jeans will do till later. But what I get, I'll buy a gun, Lucy. They used to say out west long ago, Smith and Wesson make all men equal.
We'll pawn the coat, Jeff. We'll buy 2 guns.
No. Not you.
We promised each other, Jeff. Never nothing we didn't do together. We'll buy 2 guns, Jeff.
That's all I can let you have. $6.75. It's more than the old clothes are worth.
Take it, Jeff. He won't go no higher. I know him.
All right, 6 and 6 bits. Come on, Lucy.
Wait, Jeff. We're going to buy something.
You sell? Now you want to buy. What?
Those on the shelf behind you.
Those guns are registered. You show me your license, we might make a deal. No deal.
You know we haven't no licenses. Anything else you got? Without a license?
Maybe. Old, not guaranteed.
How much for 2 and a few shells?
6 and 6 bits.
5.
1 for 5. The other one I'll throw in. For $1.75.
5 for both.
2 for 6. What'll you need money for? You'll get more soon.
I never thought of that.
A deal. 2 second-hand pistols, $6.
Ma'am, what can I do for you?
2 quarts of milk or a quart pound of butter.
Certainly. Anything else?
Everything you've got in the cash register.
Well, Open the register, buddy. This is a stick-up. Fast.
Yeah, of course. Don't have to hold the gun that close. Here.
Right. Grab the cash, Lucy. I got the bundles. We got you covered. Don't move, buddy.
$11 is all. Business can't be so good.
Come on, Lucy.
Wait, he's got chocolate candy. Dodie ain't had no chocolate candy in almost a year. He's got 5 pieces. All right, Jeff. Let's go home and feed Dodie.
Mom, I'm sleepy.
Then you go lie on your bed. Sure you don't want any more chocolate candy?
Sure, Ma. That was good, Ma. We're going to have supper, too?
You bet we are, Dodie. You'll see. Scoot now.
I'm going. That was good. Real good.
Lucy, come here a minute.
Just seen Dodie in bed. What is it, Jeff?
Out here on the back porch. Thought we ought to try them guns.
You got 'em out here?
Uh-huh. Loaded, too. Which one you want?
Makes no difference. That one.
Okay. Point it out that way. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Then shoot. Darn things ain't no good at all.
Then let's go back to that pawn shop and get 2 guns that'll shoot.
You 2 again? Yeah.
Here, those 2 pistols you sold us, they don't work.
I told you not guaranteed. We want 2 that'll work. No swap.
How much for these?
$2.
We paid you $6.
Now you told me they don't work, the price comes down. $2. I ought to bust you one.
Take the $2, Jeff.
There.
Now we want 2 that'll work. Guaranteed.
$7.50 apiece.
Give you 5.
7.
6. That's as far as we go, or we take our business
6
out.
apiece. For 2 pistols. That works. Don't shoot. Please don't shoot.
Keep your hands up and nobody will get hurt. Where's your cash?
In this desk. In that corner there.
I'll get it. Make him give you the keys to the jalopy, Jeff.
Hurry, Lucy. You, give me the keys to that car. Well, it's not mine. I only fixed it. Runs good? Yeah. Good. Don't hit me. Don't touch me. Shut up. Give me the keys. Here. Keep away from me.
$40, Jeff. More cash money we've seen in years. Got the keys? Let's go.
Hop in, Lucy. Fast.
All set, Jeff. Now let's get Dodie. And we'll never see this rotten town again.
Look at the trees, Ma.
Yes, honey, I know. They're green out here.
Dodie, on this side, look at all the cows.
Cows are lazy, Daddy Jeff. All they do is sit in the sun.
Lucky animals.
You ain't kidding. Dodie, honey, tell Ma what I asked you to do.
You mean when we stop or something, Ma?
Yes, dear.
Dodie stays in the back seat. When Daddy Jeff stops the car, Dodie gets down on the floor like tracking Indians and stays there no matter what happens.
That's right, dear. You'll do it, too. You promise.
I promise, Ma.
Lucy, up ahead.
Just traffic cops. This crate couldn't break no speed laws.
Traffic cops don't block the road like that.
You can believe it.
Cops have teletypes all over. We've got to stop for it. Now listen. Do exactly as I tell you. When we stop, I'll get out. You slide into the driver's seat. If they're looking for us and they catch on, I'll tie them up and you drive like crazy. Understand?
I understand, Jeff. Dodie, Daddy Jeff's going to stop.
Can I look at the big motorcycles real close, Ma?
Dodie, you promised.
Yes, Ma. I'm getting down, Ma. Are the cops Indians, Ma?
Dodie, please. Please be still.
Sorry, folks, we're stopping everybody.
Couple of stick-up artists. Car thieves reported headed this way. I don't mind in the least, officer. Tried to stretch my legs.
Where you headed, mister?
Up the road a piece. Looking for work.
Where'd you get this car?
It's mine. Why?
Because it's the same make, year, and number as the stolen jalopy we're watching for. Let's see your license and registration, fellow.
Lucy, drive! Lucy!
No, not you!
Look out, Mercy's got a gun! Hey, Lucy, don't!
Oh! Jeff, get in! Drive, Ma! It's too loud!
You killed him.
I don't care. I won't live without you. Ma, why are you crying? Don't cry.
All right, Lucy. We tried it, honest. Now I guess we're in for
it. In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with the Second-Hand Pistols. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Nancy Coleman as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistols. Out of the hills of West Virginia and across the border into Ohio rolled Lucy Minden with Dodie and Jeff. A few miles beyond the point where they left the two policemen lying in the road, they stopped the car, made their first swap. On they went, using only the back roads, staying away from towns and cities of any size. For gas and cash and food, they held up small filling stations and stores. They slept in their car. Behind them was a trail of stolen automobiles and rifled cash boxes. And ahead of them, always ahead of them, was the clicking of the teletypes in the police stations.
Here they are again. To all police officers, Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky. Wanted for murder, assault with intent to kill, armed robbery, automobile theft. Couple with child. Last seen driving west on US 60. Description follows.
Description follows. Gardner, height 5'8", weight approximately 155. Brown hair, blue eyes. Clothing, blue dungarees. Minden, height 5'2", weight approximately 130. Black hair, brown eyes. May be dressed in men's clothing. All stations alerted. Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. Approach with care. They are desperate.
Daddy, Jeff, why is Ma taking so long?
I don't know, Dodie.
Ma would come. I wish she would.
She's coming, Dodie. She just came out of that stationery store.
All right, Jeff. I got everything.
What took you so long?
Drive, Jeff. I'll tell you.
You were so long, Ma.
I know, dear, but I got everything. And a new cap for Daddy Jeff and one for me, so my hair won't get dusty. And the newspapers and the lollipops for you. And guess what, Dodie?
Ice cream cone?
Oh, not with lollies, you know. Look.
Ma, it looks almost real. Almost like yours.
Oh, yes. Yes, dear, almost. And caps for it, too. Want me to load it for you?
Gee, no, Ma, I know how. Boy, oh, boy. Now I can go bang, bang when you do, Ma.
Yes, dear, I know. I know. Only make good believe. Please, Toby.
Well, yes, Ma. If you say so.
You shouldn't have done it, Lucy. It'll look awful bad.
Look bad.
Like we was teaching the kid.
How much worse can it look? We killed, didn't we?
If you'd have done what I asked.
I left you with him. Now, Jeff, I'll die first. Anyhow, look, Jeff, we're in the papers. Front page. Hold up couple saw in 7 states. That's us, you and me, in the papers.
What else do they say?
Known as Jeff Gardner and Lucy Linder, and accompanied by Lucy's child, this couple have terrorized West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, holding up filling stations, stealing cars. Jeff, up ahead, that hitchhiker. Let's pick him up.
What for? Hitchhikers don't have any...
Pick him up, Jeff. Don't you see? The cops are looking for a couple and a kid. Not 3 grown-ups and a kid.
You're smart, Lucy.
You don't have to be smart for that. You're sensible. Besides, I knew the cops out where I was born. They keep looking only for what they're told.
Going toward Missouri, folks?
We sure are. Hop in. Whereabouts in Missouri you heading, mister?
Why, Hannibal's be Jack.
Right along the way, you got a good ride. We're bound for St. Louis.
That so?
We got to stop down to Bowling Green first. My sister lives there. Well, we got to see her a little bit before we move along.
.127 Green Street, Lucy.
I know.
This where Aunt May lives, Ma?
Yes, Dodie. This is where...
It's a nice house. Big tree.
It sure are.
What are we sitting in the car for, Ma? Why don't we get out?
The kid's right, Lucy. It'll be better short.
I know. All right, Dodie. Let's get out. Got everything, Dodie?
Uh-huh. Even my pistol. It's key, Ma. Even if it doesn't make as loud a noise as yours.
Darling. All right. Come on now. Daddy Jeff has to take care of the car.
All right. Don't take long, Daddy Jeff.
I won't. See you, son.
Do you remember Aunt May, Dodie?
I never saw her, Ma. You know that.
Oh, yeah. Must have forgot. Well, she's nice. Looks like me a little older. A little fatter, I guess.
Will she have a bed for us, Ma? Will we sleep in a bed tonight?
Yes, dear. You'll sleep in a bed tonight. Oh, dear, I forgot. There's something I need from the dime store.
Tonight, Ma?
Yes. Jody, you stay here. I'll ring the doorbell for you. Then you tell Aunt May that your Ma and Daddy Jeff had to go downtown for a minute, and I said for them to take you in until I get back. All right?
Sure, I'll tell her.
All right. Give me a kiss.
Yeah, sure, Ma. Why are you crying, Ma?
Who's crying? All right. Here we go. You be good now, understand? Till I get back. Goodbye, Josie.
Don't be long, will you, Ma? Will you?
Drive, Jeff, will you? Before I go back there and make a complete fool of myself. I don't like it, Jeff.
You don't like what?
Where that traffic cop let us go.
St. Louis is a big city, hon. They ain't expecting us in a big city.
We're going to be out here soon.
All warehouses must be pretty near the edge of town.
Oh, I hope so. It don't feel right.
Lucy.
I said it. I told you, Jeff.
Turn or right through.
They'll have the side streets covered. Try to get us from behind, too.
You ready?
I'll have to hang onto the wheel. Give me the gun.
Left pocket.
Got it.
we go again, hon. Fire back at him, Lucy. Fire.
Not unless I have to.
It's just my shoulder. I can try.
That'll teach him to hurt you.
Not much more, Lucy. We make it to that rock and they'll never get us out.
I know. Till we starve to death.
Maybe we'll be able to make a deal with them.
Oh, they won't make any deals. You saw the papers. When they tried to stop us back in New Mexico, they shot one of their own.
Here we are. Up you go.
Made it. You get shot in St. Louis, but I'm the one who's played out in Arizona.
You'll be fine after you rest a bit. My shoulder's perfect. You fixed it good in that room in Joplin.
We slept in a bed. Funny, I never thought I'd get out of Virginia. Look at all the places we've been.
Getting pretty close. I can see some of them moving. They must have rifles. They look so small.
More on this side. What do you say they call a place like this? Stuck up in the middle of a flatland?
A mesa. Fell at the last gas station told me. I sure hated to ditch that last station wagon. It sure was a beautiful car. Sure ain't coming any closer.
They're more scared than we are. Dad! Kill the plane and after us too. Oh, Dad, I can't take it. Not anymore. We gotta quit, Jeff. I can't.
Lucy. Easy, honey. One of them's yelling at us.
Up there, you! You got 1 minute. Come down or we'll blast you out. You're surrounded. You got 1 minute, and then we open fire. The plane spotted you. Ain't got your mind. 1 minute from now.
It's no use, Jeff. We gotta quit.
I know. I didn't tell you. We haven't even got 2 shells left for the guns.
Jeff, one thing you gotta promise.
I promise. What is it?
After everything we've been through together, you won't try to take the whole blame. I couldn't stand it. Not to go, and you go. Promise, Jeff.
I promised before you asked, didn't I? We didn't have no chance. Not since we knocked over those cops back home. I knew that.
We didn't have no chance long before that, Jeff. I knew that. All right, Jeff. Tell him we're coming down.
Crime does not pay. Nancy Coleman, who has starred as Lucy Minden in The Second-Hand Pistols, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Nancy Coleman.
I think it is important to the story of Lucy Minden and Jeff Gardner that we point out that these two turned to crime only after a long and fruitless struggle to find the means for a decent existence, honestly. Lucy and Jeff had the traditional 3 strikes on them before they started, simply because of the kind of life into which they were born. Such living conditions can and must be corrected in this great country of ours. We cannot afford to lose good mothers and decent fathers to lives of crime, not when they can be given proper opportunities at so little cost. When the Lucys and the Jeffs of our country turn to law-breaking because they feel there's no other way, it is as much for society as a whole as for this kind of criminal that in the end, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Miss Coleman. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark D. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
This I believe. Richard T. Button of Englewood, New Jersey, was 5 times world champion figure skater and holds more skating honors than any other American ever won. He is a technical artist, a fine sportsman, and a serious student, having graduated from Harvard cum laude. 2 years ago, he turned professional. He now is devoting his earnings and himself to getting through Harvard Law School. Here is Dick Button.
An incident which happened to me in the winter of 1948 illustrates most clearly one of the basic tenets of what I believe. It was a cold evening in February in 1948, and I was being flown from Switzerland to Prague to give a skating exhibition. Rumors that the communists in Czechoslovakia would attempt to overthrow the government and establish a satellite regime had been freshened daily by word of the political unrest there. Despite the warnings of the American consulate, I had accepted the invitation to skate in a sports festival in the city stadium in the center of Prague. Almost immediately on arrival, however, signs of the growing tension could be seen. Other Americans who were to join me for the exhibition had their flights from Amsterdam turned back, and the welcoming officials were more tense than they cared to appear. My exhibition was to take place the following evening at 8:30, but between the time of our landing and that hour much was to happen. The expected blow-up came in a rush of frenzied action. The Communist Premier Clement Gottwald's action committees were taking over authority throughout Czechoslovakia. The army was told to remain true to the Soviet Union. The free press was being suppressed. The center of Prague was occupied by throngs acting under orders of the communist-controlled General Federation of Law and marching for the new National Front government. In no time, banks, communication buildings, and important offices were guarded by uniformed soldiers with red rags tied round their arms like the seared scars of a fresh political wound. The outlook for my skating exhibition, though widely heralded in the press, was bleak indeed. Yet at 8:30, a crowded stadium, instead of the expected meager audience hostile to an American, cheered the skaters on. After my exhibition, I waited on the ice while being presented with a cut-glass bowl. Suddenly, an orange was flung out of the audience, landed on the ice, and skidded past my skates. What I had feared would happen in light of the unrest was apparently starting. It could only be a Czech form of the American raspberries. There was little that I could do, so I picked up the orange and threw it back into the crowd. But soon another and still another orange fell on the ice, rolling helter-skelter over the slippery surface. Before I threw these back, I looked at one more closely. It was neatly wrapped in cellophane, and printed on one side were the words, "Good luck, Mr. Button." I could only smile at myself. The next one that I picked up said, "Bring us your freedom soon again." By the time I left the ice, my glass bowl was piled high with oranges and printed messages. What does this incident mean to me? It means that these people, in the midst of a social upheaval, could still come to cheer not just a skater, but an American, and what, as an American, he represented. In the light of later events, I can see that this was near the end of the time when their thoughts could be so freely expressed, and the swiftness with which that end came makes me want to guard even closer my own opportunity for freedom of thought. The Czechs, like most of us, have known what this freedom is. They lost it, and it will be ours only as long as we keep it. The chance to believe in what you wish to believe is what I believe.
Calling all detectives. What could you do to help a man who doesn't know whether or not he committed a crime and doesn't care? That is the problem on this page from my casebook, the casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. Sometimes a private detective like me, Jerry Browning, gets a case at the point where it's supposed to be all over. It was the trial of Vincent Harmon, charged with murdering his wife and disposing of a body. Witnesses had already testified that Harmon and his wife quarreled incessantly, that he'd threatened to leave her, that she'd said he'd never dare leave because of what she knew about him. Now the district attorney was trying to prove the corpus delicti. Corpus delicti doesn't mean the body of the victim, as some people think. It means the fact of the crime. In the absence of a body, as in this case, the DA had to prove that a crime was actually committed. He proved it through Professor Jenkins, an expert on blood types.
The poker had stains on it, which I analyzed and which are blood stains. The blood matches for type. The blood type of Mrs. Harmon, as contained in a hospital record of a transfusion she received 5 years ago.
Vincent Harmon did not take the stand in his own defense. His attorney claimed that corpus delicti had not been proved, that Mrs. Harmon was someplace presumably alive. A few hours later,
we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.
And that was that. I went back to the offices of Consolidated Insurance to tell John Cooley that he wouldn't have to pay the $50,000 policy Consolidated had issued on Mrs. Harmon's life. I found Cooley studying a pink slip.
Browning, I've just learned that a $12,000 loan was made 6 months ago to Mrs. Harmon on her policy.
I shrugged. So what? Lots of people borrow on policies. Cooley shook his head.
Mrs. Harmon was a wealthy woman. Her husband had no money, not even enough to hire an attorney for his defense. The court appointed one. Browning, what happened to that $12,000?
I stared at him. What are you driving at, Mr. Cooley?
Browning, find that $12,000, and you may find the missing Mrs. Harmon.
After a man was convicted of his wife's murder, her insurance company began to have doubts about whether or not she was really dead. I had a talk with Vincent Harmon at City Jail. Mr. Browning, I know nothing about a loan my wife made on her policy. I didn't even know she had any insurance. I looked at the sensitive-faced, soft-voiced young man. He was 32. His wife had been 10 years older. Why didn't you say so in court? Why did you refuse to testify at all? Harmon smiled faintly. You assume I am innocent. This sovereign state thinks otherwise. Maybe you were wrong and the state is right. All right, Harmon, you've been convicted. You can't do yourself any more harm. Did you kill your wife? Mr. Browning, I don't know. And I don't much care. If it were up to me, I might have dropped the whole thing then and there. Except that Cooley's instructions were,
Browning, don't come back until you've found that $12,000 or Mrs. Harmon.
I know an order when I hear one. I'd received permission to make a search of the Harmon house, and that's what I did next. It was a big, expensive house on about a half-acre of ground. The grounds had once been landscaped. Now they looked shell-torn after weeks of digging for a body that wasn't there. I went over that house from attic to cellar. Found absolutely nothing. In Harmon's room, there were some regimental trophies. A bureau drawer, a couple of medals, including the Purple Heart. I left the medals, walked to the window, gazed out again at the shell-torn garden. Medals, shell-torn, shelling, shell shock. Shell shock. Shell shock. That could be it. Yes, I was Captain Harmon, superior officer. Good man, very good man. Colonel, was Harmon a shell shock case?
Well,
obsolete term. Combat fatigue. He was invalided out for combat fatigue and wounds.
I got to Harmon again just as he was being taken aboard train for transfer to state prison. Harmon, you've got to talk fast and honest. You have periods of amnesia. You don't know what you're doing. Is that right? Harmon bowed his head. And you were ashamed to admit that, even though you got it fighting for your country. Isn't that why your wife said you'd never leave her? Because you were afraid to trust yourself alone? Harmon's lips twisted in agony.
Leave me alone. I'm better off dead.
I didn't need Cooley to keep me working now. What I did was, Your Honor, in view of all this evidence, record of head injury, signed statements from his commanding officer and the Surgeon General, I submit that Vincent Harmon, even if he did commit that murder, is not mentally responsible. Belongs in a hospital, not the death house.
I agree, Mr. Browning. Examinations are necessary, but I think you may rest assured that the transfer will be made. And, Mr. Browning, the court thanks you.
Okay, so now the pressure was off, and I could return to the basic problem of what happened to Mrs. Harmon.
Yep, Mrs. Harmon kept a custom-built convertible here. A lot of power in that car. She liked to pass everything on the road. Beautiful gray and green two-tone job. Never could figure out why she had it repainted black.
So, Mrs. Harmon had ordered a flashy car repainted black. The car that disappeared when she and $12,000 did. To all state highway patrols, Mexico, Canada, be on lookout for black convertible coupe, custom-built, repainted, driven by woman. Description follows. I had the thing pretty well figured out. That Mrs. Harmon planned and executed a phony murder, and with the $12,000 meant to hide out in some inaccessible spot, return after her husband was executed, claimed she'd heard nothing about the trial. Well, with Harmon now in a hospital, she'd have a long, long wait. The reports came trickling back. No trace of the car, no trace of Mrs. Harmon. Months passed. At the hospital, Harmon was operated on for a head injury, judged legally competent to organize a defense for a new trial. And then I suddenly remembered something. What the mechanic had said about the way Mrs. Harmon drove that afternoon. To all state police, Mexico, Canada, investigate and report any fatal accidents on or about April 17 last. Black convertible coupe. Motor number follows. Yeah, that did it. The report came from Wyoming. The car had gone over a mountainside at night. Apparently, she'd been doing all her driving at night. There wasn't enough left of car or occupant to tell motor numbers or much of anything, except that it was a black convertible driven by a woman. Funny. The same hospital record she'd counted on to identify the blood stains she left on the poker finally identified her body, won Vincent Harmon's release, and made him a rich man. Like I said, I may sometimes get a case when it looks like it's finished. But I've learned that while a man is alive, nothing is ever finished. Listen next time to Calling All Detectives, mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, private detective.
Look.
The window. Torn out of its frame.
No. They're on the floor. Sylvia.
Good Lord. Her head twisted almost off, and her body looks as if every bone in it was broken.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight,
when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in Death's Worshipper. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by J. Williams is a tale of fear from afar called Death's Worshipper. On the surface, it's a New York apartment like thousands of others. In a house with a brownstone front on a dark little street. But to Kate Bonney, living here with her brother Peter, it has become a prison cell, a place of menace, a house of terror.
I can't explain, Peter. It's as though I were caught in a spider's web, waiting helplessly while the spider comes closer.
But, Kate, you still haven't told me just exactly what's troubling you.
It's real, Peter. It's a feeling that, well, like in a nightmare when you know something awful is after you and you can't escape. It's drawing closer. It's coming here to this room to find me. What'll I do, Peter? What shall I do?
Please, Kate, pull yourself together. You've got to.
I'm sorry, Peter. I'll try.
Ah, that's better. Now then, let's have it. I can't come home every night to a sister who's afraid of the dark. What's it all about?
Do you remember the weekend I spent at Quentin's place in the country?
Just after he got back from India? Yes, of course.
You couldn't make it and I went alone?
The conference in Chicago, I remember. Reminds me, I wonder why I haven't heard from him since. Those letters he wrote about some discoveries he made.
Discoveries? Don't mention them.
Why not?
Because I have an idea that they're behind everything that happened.
What do you mean?
He didn't even mention the expedition until after dinner that first night. There were just the three of us, Quentin, Sylvia, and myself. He went into quite a bit of detail describing his reasons for going, the long trip through the jungle.
Finally came to a little gone village and tackled what I was sure was the last belt of jungle. That last stretch took us 6 hours. At last we broke out into a clearing, and there it was, towering above us, the temple of Shiva the Destroyer.
Oh, that must have been a thrilling moment.
Thrilling? You can't possibly know what that meant to me.
I was just frightened.
Sylvia frightens rather easily.
That's not true, Quentin. It's just that it looked like some kind of crouching beast with a single devil's horn.
Rubbish. It was breathtaking, Kate. Imagine a great square block of stone set in a riot of jungle foliage. Out of it rises a tremendous three-cornered spire fully 100 feet high.
Oh, that must have been magnificent.
Yes, and the whole thing covered with a lace tracery of stone carving.
And this is what you had set out to find?
This was it. Oh. You see, the Hindu Trimurti, or Trinity, is composed of three deities. Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer.
Yes.
Well, in this tiny district in the hills, there had once been a local cult which worshipped only the destroyer. In a curious and perverted way. Well, the worshippers became their god.
I don't understand.
When they prayed to Shiva, the god himself entered and took possession of them. They were Shiva, with all the powers and all the frightful energy of the god.
Good heaven.
No, not a very good heaven. For you see, the heaven of these worshippers was nothingness.
Nothingness?
Yes. For them, the ultimate goal of man was destruction, the merging of oneself into a kind of cosmic non-existence.
Now you can understand how I felt, Kate, when I first looked at that temple.
Yes.
I suppose that, yes, even a greater mind than yours, Sylvia, might well shrink before the majesty of a concept like that.
Well, I know I would have been frightened, too.
But India is a place where just such a concept would originate. Life means nothing there. Death flourishes in 1,000 forms. I climbed the spire of the temple and looked down over the sea of jungle to the brown river in the distance and the thread of smoke that marked the village. I was a midget, an ant, crawling over the surface of a giant's house. Shiva is the giant, and humanity, we're so insignificant, so worthless. I wonder if they weren't right after all, those worshippers of the destroyer.
Quentin.
Perhaps death, nothingness, is the greatest goal.
Stop it, Quentin. Stop it. Stop it. Do you hear?
Sylvia.
Oh, don't worry, Kate, and don't bother.
Oh, but I'm all right. No. Sorry, Kate. I think I'd better go to bed.
Yes, you're tired, Sylvia.
I am tired. These wild ideas of yours. Of all this talk about Shiva, destruction. I wish you'd get those thoughts out of your head, Quentin. You haven't been the same man since...
Good night, Sylvia.
Sylvia, are you sure you're all right now?
Yes. Yes, Kate. I'm fine.
But she wasn't fine, Peter. And it wasn't just fatigue that was bothering her. She was frightened, I could see that. Frightened out of her wits by something. And Quentin was different. When Sylvia had left us, he sat looking at me silently for a long while. And when at last he spoke, it was on another note.
You know, Kate, all this talk of nothingness and death makes me believe more firmly than ever that man must try for happiness while he's alive.
I agree. At least it's a pleasanter subject than what we've just been talking about.
I'm glad you think so. Because I'm not happy now, Kate.
But I thought you and Sylvia...
Sylvia, there's nothing between us, nothing. Hasn't been for years.
But
No, not even when we first got married. But you... When I first met you with your brother Peter years ago, something happened to me. My heart sang. It was as though I had burst out my shell. I knew then.
Quentin, you don't know what you're saying.
I do. For the first time in years, I know exactly what I'm saying. I found a philosophy I can believe in, Kate, in a troubled world. And for the first time, I've found strength to tell you that I love you.
Quentin, please.
Kate, listen. Don't be alarmed. It would be so easy to go away together. Anything is possible for me now, anything. We will go away. It doesn't matter where.
No.
We'll find a new life together. The power I know can be yours, too. I love you, Kate. We can make a new world for ourselves. We can be the gods of that world.
Quentin, stop.
I see. I didn't really expect you to say yes immediately. It is quite a decision. But perhaps I can get you to change your mind.
Quentin, you mustn't think...
You're right. I mustn't think. I must act.
I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep after that. I didn't even try. I went out for a walk. And when I got back, about a half hour later, there was a light in the studio at the far end of the garden. I was curious enough to walk over and look in the window. The room within was hung with oriental tapestries, with odd, crooked Eastern swords. Quentin sat alone, staring at a figure on the table before him. I could hear him through the window. His face was set, wooden, expressionless, but his eyes seemed to shine in the candlelight like a cat's. And the figure before him, it was horrible. It was a bronze statuette with a serene but awful smile on his face, a smile of hellish triumph. A dozen arms sprang from each shoulder. It bore a club with a skull at its tip, and it seemed to dance upon the back of a crouching dwarf. And Quentin, staring at it, was speaking to it.
Approach not the Raja.
I didn't know what it meant. I only knew that it was awful. That in some dreadful way, Quentin was trying to make his belief come alive. I ran up the lawn, and the clouds that spread over the moon seemed like dark shapes rising from some infernal pit. Wings seemed to be beating about the house as the wind rose. And in my ears rang Quentin's chanting. Even in my room I could hear it. mingled with the moaning of the wind. The moon had disappeared. I couldn't see the light in the studio. I was too far to hear it, but the chanting went on. I don't know. I seemed to hear voices in the wind, many voices chanting with Quentin. Thunder growled up from the darkness. Then there was a single flash of lightning and a clap of thunder, and on the heels of the thunder... Oh, Sylvia! Sylvia! Sylvia, are you all right? Sylvia, what's the matter? Oh, Sylvia!
Hey, Sylvia, what was that?
Where are you, Quentin?
Here. I was down in the garden. Did you hear?
Yes, sir. It sounded like it came from Sylvia's room.
This way, quick.
Oh.
She must have been having a nightmare.
Quentin. Quentin, look.
The window. Torn right out of its frame.
No, there. On the floor. Sylvia.
Good Lord.
Is she?
Let's see. Good heavens. Her head twisted all around until... in her body... it looks as if almost every bone in it is broken.
Staring at the broken body which has been flung against the wall with unimaginable force, lying there like a shattered doll, Kate sways weakly in horror. Is this the work of some demon called up by Quentin's incantation? Or is it something else? Then, as a clock strikes somewhere in the silent house, she is certain of at least one thing in a reeling world, that she is in the presence of murder at midnight. And now, back to Murder at Midnight and Death's Worshipper. Pale and shaking, Kate Bonney continues telling her story to her brother.
It was as though something with superhuman strength had twisted her head around and then just tossed her aside against the wall. Every bone in her body was broken.
It must have been pretty ghastly, but surely you're not going to let the memory of that...
It has nothing to do with memory. Something that's more than human. I don't know what killed Sylvia. And now it's after me.
After you?
Haven't you seen the papers in the last few days?
No, you know I've been up to my neck in work. What's that got to do with it?
Oh, look here. These clippings, I've been saving them.
Let's see. Another unsolved murder. Police admit bafflement. No motive. Well?
Go on. Read the rest of it.
Middle-aged man, identified as J.D. Brathwaite, broker. Neck was wrung, apparently, by someone with tremendous physical strength.
Yes, and this one. An unidentified woman, neck wrung and the body thrown against the wall. And this, and this, and this. All the same.
Kate, darling, this is all perfectly ridiculous.
No, look. Here's a map of our neighborhood. The first death took place up here. The next 2 blocks further south. Don't you see? One after the other, they're coming closer to this house, to me.
Kate, now listen. It's quite clear what's happened. You were upset by Sylvia's death, naturally. Just because of the coincidence of these crimes, you have an obsession that someone or something is haunting you. You've been working too hard. And I suppose you've been having nightmares, too.
They're not nightmares.
I'm going to run across the street to Dr. Sanford.
No, Pete.
You lie down and try to rest. I'll bring Sanford over and have him take a look at you. You're all run down.
No, Peter, don't leave me. You don't know what
Pour yourself a drink, Katie. I won't be a minute.
Who's that? Peter. Is that you? Peter, answer me. Is that... Who is it?
Hello, Kate. How are you?
Don't come any closer. I'll call Peter.
Why, Kate? What's the matter?
I suspected then when it happened. And now these last few days I know. Sylvia, you did it. You killed her, Quentin. I don't know how, but
You're mistaken, Kate. It wasn't I. I was only the instrument of something greater, stronger than man.
Quentin? What do you mean?
Don't be afraid. He's really benign. Shiva the Destroyer.
Oh.
It is his love for mankind that allows him to bring the blessing of annihilation.
Oh, no.
I worshipped him, and he came. He came in a rush of wind on the thunder and took possession of me. I was Shiva. Using my body, he climbed the wall, burst the window in. He killed Sylvia.
Oh, no.
Yes, Kate, I became Shiva. At least I must have. I don't remember it clearly, but there were great wings, lightnings. When I came to myself, I was seated in my studio again.
And those others?
You know about them? Yes, I killed others. I don't remember how many. But all life will end in nothingness, and man's highest goal is to dissolve into dust. I was conferring on them the highest possible blessing, obliteration.
Quentin, you're mad. Your discovery...
My discovery made me a god. Now he's starting to come to me now without the incantation, without my willing it. Sometimes at night I feel the great wind of his coming. I turn to ice as the god approaches to seize upon me, and... Kate, I'm afraid.
But why did you come here? What do you want of me?
I need you, Kate. I'm afraid. That's the truth. I'm afraid of the blackness, of the nothingness, of the inevitable end of all things. When I'm alone, I feel the horror of it, of the darkness. You can save me, Kate. You're the only one who can help me. Sylvia's gone. There's nothing to prevent...
You don't know what you're saying.
Come in, Doctor. Oh, Quentin. Hello. I was just...
Stay where you are. Don't come any closer.
A gun? Now, look, Quentin.
I warn you, don't come any closer. Stand still, Peter. Kate, for the last time, will you come?
Quentin, please listen to reason. Put that gun down.
Quentin, easy, Peter.
I wouldn't mind killing you, Peter. But if you wish to live, stay where you are. And don't follow me.
Has he gone mad or what? Kate, what happened?
I'm not sure. He killed Sylvia. He admitted it. And he's killed... I don't know how many others.
What?
It's true. He believes that Shiva, the Destroyer, controls him. He believes that when he kills, he's granting a blessings to the one he destroys.
But that's crazy.
No, not so crazy, Peter. May I say something?
Why, of course, Doctor.
I thought there was something wrong with him the minute I saw him. His eyes, I think it's a case of self-hypnosis. Something like the Moros practice when they run amok. They believe that they're possessed by God, and while in this state, they can actually perform amazing feats of strength and endurance. A number of primitive peoples have the same belief. Dervishes, Indian fakirs. Your friend must induce this state by an incantation of some kind, or by concentrating on some object until the hypnotic state is induced.
That's true. I heard him. I saw him praying to the image of Shiva. That's how he must do it.
Well, if it is true, he's extremely dangerous. We'd better get the police. May I use the phone?
Wait, I can't believe it.
He certainly wasn't joking about that gun, Peter. And according to your sister, he's already killed several times.
No, he mustn't do that. Peter's right. We're his friends. And he loves me. He said I was the only one who could help him. He really is afraid and alone.
Of course, Kate. Doctor, Quint and I were kids together. If he's in trouble, we've got to do something to help him, not call the police down on him. Where do you think he's gone?
I'm sure he's gone back to his house in the country. We could try there anyway.
My car is just around the corner. I think we're taking an awful chance, but on the other hand...
It's a chance we've got to take, Doctor. He told me that Shiva comes to him now without incantation. I'm terribly afraid of him and of what might happen. But I'm more afraid of what he may do now to himself or to someone else.
We turn right here below the toll gate.
That dirt road?
Yes. Look, isn't that a tail light up ahead?
Another car. It may be his.
The storm coming up if it'll just hold off for a while.
A storm. Just like that first.
Here, the other car's turning off.
That's the driveway to Quentin's house.
Step on it.
The house is dark.
Perhaps we were wrong.
No. I know where he is. This way around to the back.
There's the light.
That's the studio.
Quiet. Let's have a look first. Well, he's there. Alone. Sitting behind the table with some sort of statue in front of him.
Statue of Shiva.
The door's open. Come on.
The bright one, the happy one, Ishtadevata, Soma Divesvara.
Quentin, what are you doing?
The incantation. He's calling up that demon. Quentin, stop.
Gaja Mahamurti.
Quentin, it's Kate. Don't you hear me? Stop it, please. Please, Quentin.
Kate, is that? Mahayogi. Approach.
He's in a trance.
Shall we?
No, don't touch him. The slightest thing now might turn him into a raging maniac. Let your sister try.
Quentin, you must stop. This awful thing, it isn't you anymore. It's not what you want. You said you loved me. If that's true, you must shake this madness off.
Kate, calling me. I can't. He's too strong for me.
Try, Quentin. Try. You can do it. Come back, Quentin. If you really love me, fight it. Fight it.
I can't. He's coming. Can't you hear them? Get away, Kate, before he comes. Only one thing left. One thing I can possibly... the statue. Smash it and...
Don't move, Peter.
What was it?
I can't see. That flash.
Lightning. It must have struck.
Quentin.
Let me look, Kate. He's dead. That lightning bolt killed him immediately.
Dr. Sanford. What's that on his forehead?
Burn. Lightning does curious things.
Yes, but there. The head of the statue he smashed. The same mark on its brow. Like an eye. A third eye. The mark of Shiva.
The vengeance of a thwarted god? Or coincidence? Kate and her brother look at each other, and then again at the contorted face with that inexplicable burn etched like the mark of Cain upon its forehead. And in the distance, from some far-off steeple, a clock begins to chime the hour. 12 strokes for... murder! At midnight. remember to be with us again when death hovers on dark bat wings and the clocks strike 12 for Murder at Midnight. The part of Kate was played by Bess Johnson, and Carl Emery was Quentin. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. Screen star Dick Powell was born in the modest surroundings of Mound View, Arkansas. For the past 20 years, he has been exposed to and eminently active in the strange and garish world of motion pictures and radio. Some country boys have lost their way in these never-never lands. Some have been hoisted to dizzying heights of success, in quotation marks, only to slip down the other side on the banana peel of mistaken values. Mr. Powell, more than incidentally a husband and father, has held fast to the basic beliefs he learned in that small town.
As I watch my young son crawling on the floor trying to learn to walk, I am filled with a desire to help him, but not with just a steadying hand. I want to pass on to him as he grows up some practical, workable philosophy of life that will make his steps sure and strong in the face of the next 50 years. I like to give him something new, something startling, something even atomic in its originality. But I don't know any new, surefire philosophies with a lifetime guarantee. I know that I can and will pass on to him those things I've believed in during my attempt to live a full and useful life. Even they are not original. Others passed them on to me. I won't mind repeating, and I hope he won't mind hearing over and over again all the quotations, rules, proverbs, even bromides that I live with. Honesty is the best policy. A stitch in time saves 9. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Laugh and the world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone, and many others. And, of course, including by all means, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I'll try to make them sound as little like slogans as possible, but this won't be easy. They've been repeated so often in such a ponderous and sanctimonious manner that their sharp, true meaning seems to have been dulled. But I'll tell him these things because I believe in them. I believe in them because they are truth and are the results of the thinking and living of thousands of God-fearing people before me. Some of these thoughts were even from people who had no organized religion, but realized the necessity of them if they were to live successfully in a group. As a boy, I sang in the Catholic Children's Choir. After my voice changed into what the neighbors called the loudest tenor in the city, I sang in every choir in town: Baptist, Episcopalian, Presbyterian, Jewish synagogue, the Masonic Hall, and many, many others. I belonged to the First Christian Church, but I never sang there because I was too busy elsewhere. I like to think I had a liberal religious education, even if it was from the choir lofts. I learned to believe that not all men are good, but that most men want to be good. I believe in God, and whether I try to have him hear me through the temples, the churches, or even from the sidewalks of the street, it is to the same end. I want always to try to be vigilant, to help see to it that man shall forever have the right to worship God and call to him whenever and wherever he pleases, within the bounds of the society he lives in. My son will soon walk. He will start living in society the minute he starts playing with the boy next door. I know that these things I believe will help him live better with the boy next door, the thousands in the state, the millions in the country, and yes, even the billions in this great world.
The movies can make a man a tough guy or a debonair star, but only his honestly spoken beliefs can be the measure of his real character, as actor Dick Powell has just shown.
It's another case for that most famous of all manhunters, the detective whose ability at solving crime is unequaled in the history of detective fiction. Nick Carter, Master Detective. Tonight's curious adventure...
Murder by Magic. Or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Missing Identity.
I wonder how Scubby's making out. Do you suppose that he had any trouble, Nick?
I doubt it, Patsy. Scubby knows Philadelphia well enough to get all the information I want without any difficulty.
Yes, but he's been gone 3 days now. He didn't plan to be gone that long, did he?
Well, no, Patsy, but it's not always possible to tell in advance how long it's going to take to...
Nick Carter's office.
Nick there, Patsy?
Well, Scubby. Yes, he's here. How are you making out?
Oh, please put Nick on. I've got to talk to him and quick.
Well, sure, Scubby. Here he is. I think it's Scubby. He sounds as though there was something wrong.
I hope not. Hello, Scubby. What's up?
Nick, can you come to Chicago right away?
Chicago? Thought you went to Philadelphia.
So did I, but I landed in Chicago.
What?
And am I in trouble?
What kind of trouble?
I seem to have killed a man.
Oh, now, don't try to be funny, Scubby. What's this all about?
I'm not being funny, Nick. I'm really in a jam. I apparently killed a man last night.
Oh, look here, Scubby. You certainly know whether you've killed somebody or not.
But I don't, Nick.
What makes you think you have?
It says so in the papers.
What papers?
The Chicago papers. Oh, please, Nick, will you come out here right away? I've got to have help and in a hurry.
All right, Scubby. Patsy and I'll leave at once. Where are you staying?
In a little hotel on the edge of town called Paradise Mansion. I haven't dared to stir out of here since I read about the murders.
Okay, Scubby, sit tight. We'll be there as soon as the plane can get us there.
Gosh, Nick, we were awfully lucky to get seats on this plane.
Yes, Patsy. Well, now that we're safely on our way, let's take a look at these Chicago papers I bought. See what they have to say about our friend Scubby.
Okay. Look, Nick, on the front page. Murderer of nightclub patron sought.
Yeah. And here's a snapshot of the killer taken at the nightclub. Wonder how they happened to get that.
It does look kind of like Scubby, doesn't it?
Yes, could be. And look at these fingerprints. They're certainly Scubby's. I'd know them anywhere.
That's certainly Scubby's cigarette lighter. It's the one I gave him last Christmas.
So I see. It says here, a cold-blooded killing reminiscent of the gang wars of years ago.
Oh, Nick, do you think that Scubby could...
Oh, I wouldn't believe it if he admitted that Scubby couldn't kill anybody. But it certainly looks as if he got himself into some real trouble this time. And what's he doing in Chicago?
Oh, Nick.
Hi, Scubby.
Oh, I never was so glad to see anyone in my whole life.
Scubby, are you...
Come in quick. Let me get this door closed.
Jittery, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you're still out of jail.
Oh, Nick, don't joke about it. I'm just about crazy. Look, I'm in a jam.
Well, suppose you sit down and tell us just what happened.
And begin at the beginning. Don't leave out anything.
All right. Well, it's quite a story and pretty unbelievable, but I'll try to tell it the best I can. As you know, I started for Philadelphia, and I was sitting in the airport waiting room, waiting for my plane to be announced, when somebody stumbled over my feet. I looked up expecting him to say, excuse me, and then I heard a funny, shrill little voice say,
Stupid! Why don't you keep your feet where they belong?
Huh? Oh, why don't you look where you're going?
You're too stupid to be allowed out in public.
Yeah, well, nobody asked you for your opinion. If you don't like my feet, just keep away from them.
Trying to insult me, are you? You're not even fit to speak to me, you stupid idiot.
Look here, Bud. That's 3 times you've used that word stupid about me. The 4th time might get you a skin nose. Come on your way.
You are attempting to divert my senses from the concentration of inner thoughts to the grosser contemplations of the external world.
Come again?
But you are as clumsy as a cow at doing it.
Look, fella, if you've got somewhere to go, just go ahead. Your room is better than your company.
You are being sarcastic. That is because you do not know who I am.
All right, I'll bite. Who are you? You tell me and see if I care.
It is useless to tell you. That thing you think is your mind is a rusted, worthless tool. A sponge too dried out to soak up anything.
Oh, dumb, you mean?
Exactly. Do you really want to know who I am?
Quite frankly, I don't give a tinker's damn.
I am Chi-Chi, the Omnipotent. In the Central Council of the Farthest Inward, I am the most completely self-equipped.
Brother, you don't make sense.
I am the mystic. In the whole council, I am the most honored. There has been, in 20 generations, no other great enough to be the mystic. But I am he.
Okay. Well, now that we've settled that, how's about some peace and quiet?
You have offended me grievously. I do not let such offenses go unpunished. I shall sit here beside you and decide what your punishment is going to be. I shall say no more until I have decided.
Okay. Well, happy thoughts, my mystical little pal. So he sat down beside me and didn't say another word. He was a funny, weaseled-up little man, and he amused me rather than worried me, so I forgot all about him.
Did he take the same plane you did?
Oh, don't get ahead of me, Patsy. I was tired from working all night and then the night before, and I guess I must have dozed off. The next thing I knew, somebody was shaking me by the shoulder.
Come on, Palsy, snap out of it. This is as far as this camp goes. Hey, wake up, Palsy. This is where you get off.
Huh? Oh, sure. Sure, I'm awake.
Come on, Palsy. This is your hotel. It must have been some night you had last night, huh, Palsy?
Oh, stop calling me Palsy.
Sure. Whatever you say, Palsy.
What the deuce is the matter with me? Why does my head feel so foggy? What? Hey, where am I? Where's the plane?
Look, Palsy, I don't know who you're kidding, but this is where you live. Are you getting out or you going to stay in a cab?
Well, where's my baggage?
You're a great little kidder, Palsy. Now, come on. Get out. You better get some sleep. There's nothing like it for a hangover.
Oh, all right. Oh, hey, you better give me a hand to get out of here.
Okay, Palsy. There you go. All right. There you are. Now there.
Oh, what does the meter say?
Same as always, Palsy. 50 cents.
Yeah? Well, here's 6 bits. Keep the change.
Hey, look, Palsy, you generally give me $5 for hauling you.
I'll give you a knot on the head if you don't stop ribbing me.
Okay, Palsy. Yeah, now you sound more like yourself. See you later.
And he drove off, leaving me standing in front of the crummiest-looking hotel I ever hoped to stop at.
You mean you have no notion of how you got there?
No, not the faintest.
No, but Scubby, you just...
Oh, hold everything. Wait till I finish the story. Well, as I was apparently expected to go in the hotel, I did. As I approached the desk, the room clerk, a sad sack with a sourpuss, tossed me a key.
There you are, Mr. Gerson.
I picked up the key and started to ask the clerk a lot of questions. But my head was so dizzy that I couldn't think straight. So I went up to room 714, which was the number on the key.
What was it like, Scubby?
Oh, cheap and flashy. And it reeked of cheap perfume. I found some letter paper on the writing desk, and the letterhead said, Hotel Prince Royal, Chicago. Then I at least knew where I was. My head was aching so that I stumbled into the bathroom to bathe it. I got one look at myself in the mirror, and it almost finished me.
How do you mean, Scubby?
Well, it wasn't me I saw in the mirror.
But that's ridiculous. How could it be anyone else?
Well, that's what I wanted to know. What I saw was a typical cheap, pasty-faced gangster with red hair.
But your hair isn't red.
Well, it was then. And then I discovered that I was wearing a zoot suit.
What a sight you must have been.
Well, it didn't amuse me, Nick. By this time, I was scared sick. My head was so dizzy, I couldn't think straight. I thought maybe I was still having some kind of nightmare. So I picked up the house phone, and when the operator answered, I asked her, what day is this?
It's Friday, Mr. Gerson.
Friday, March 24th?
Of course, Mr. Gerson.
Then it was yesterday that I left New York.
What's that, Mr. Gerson?
Oh, nothing. That's all, thanks.
Oh, Palsy.
Huh?
I just heard from the hospital. You just broke Betty's arm, that's all.
What? Oh, when was that?
Well, last night, you remember. But don't worry, Betty's a good kid. She won't say nothing to the cops.
Oh. Oh, yeah, thanks. Bye. And then I hung up the phone. Oh, it was getting worse and worse. I went back into the bathroom for another look at my new face. And then the room door opened, and I heard someone come in.
You hear, Palsy?
Huh? Oh, hello.
Hi, Palsy. What's cooking, Snuggins? Give me a match.
Thanks, Hank.
Would you mind telling me who you are?
That's a new one on Dolly, Palsy. What's the rib?
Oh, I just want to find out who you are.
I'm Dolly, the spare rib, the girlfriend.
You're my girlfriend?
Say, Palsy, you're talking awful funny. What goes? Is this some new kind of a brush-off?
Oh, no, you misunderstand me.
Say, if you're trying to give me the air...
No. No, it's still love. Dove.
Well, that's more like it. For a minute, you had me guessing. See, by the way, Palsy, where was you last night? We had a date gate. Why'd you stand me up?
Huh? Did I?
I don't like that, Rat. You better explain and make it good.
Well, I had business.
Oh, I get it. You did a job you want me to cover for you. Okay, where do I say we went last night, you and me?
Oh, well, I think that we'd better say that...
I'll get that. There's something going on around here I ain't in on. Hello. Okay, thanks.
What was it?
She says there's 4 guys named Spike, Steve, Brainy, and Lucky coming up to see you. I got a blow. Them guys give me the chills, honey. They're real killers, and they ain't fussy who they kill. Be seeing you. I fly. Goodbye.
Gosh, Scubby, what happened then?
Were these 4 gentlemen up to expectations?
Oh, they were gangsters, all right. They came sliding into the room as if they were afraid of me. Well, I already discovered I was supposed to be a guy named Palsy Gerson, a mug who broke girls' arms when I wanted to, and I was a no-good who gave $5 tips to taxi drivers, and I was a crook who had his girlfriend cover up for him when he did a job, and now I seem to be buddies with this gang of hoodlums. Oh, one of them, a guy with a squint eye, did all the talking.
Hi, Palsy.
Look, you guys, look me over carefully. Am I Palsy Gerson?
What's the matter, Palsy? Bad hangover?
Oh, let it go. What's cooking?
Look, Palsy, we're clean. There's not a rod on any of us. We come here for a peace talk.
Yeah?
Yeah. We've been pals working together for a long time now. We've been like that, right?
So what?
So everybody knows we're tied up with you. Even the cops know it. Now, if you get pulled in, we all get pulled in. Because the cops will figure we're all in it together.
Oh, what are you getting at?
It's about this rub-out last night. We didn't know nothing about that, Palsy. You didn't tell us. So we want you to give us the lowdown so we'll know what to say if one of us gets picked up.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Now, look, Palsy, everybody knows about last night's killing. We know it was your job, even if you did hire someone else to do it for you. Why, it's in all the newspapers this morning.
Here, let me see that paper. Oh, there was the headline, all right. Murder in nightclub. And there was a picture of me. Not a picture of this Palsy Gerson, but of me, Scubby Wilson. Taken on the spot by the nightclub photographer, it said. And there were my fingerprints, Nick. Those prints that both of us know so well, found on the gun that was used. And a picture of the cigarette lighter Patsy gave me last Christmas. Look, you got me all wrong. I'm not Palsy Gerson. There's been a terrible mistake.
Palsy? You mean you ain't going to be straight with us?
I tell you, this is all a mistake.
Palsy, you trying to cross us up? We don't like it. We ain't going to take it.
Oh, listen a minute. You can't finish.
Can't do it, Palsy? Come on, boys. Take him over. Watch out for his ride. You ain't crossing us and get the witness.
Oh, I was so weak, I couldn't do a thing. And a minute later, they bent a blackjack over my left ear, and I went out cold.
Scubby, you poor guy. You certainly had a tough time.
Well, how did you get out of that Palsy Gerson role you were playing?
I don't know, Nick. When I came to again, I was on the bed in this room. I lay there a few minutes, getting my senses back, and then I jumped off the bed and raced to the mirror. I was myself again. I was Scubby Wilson once more, and in my own clothes, and my hair wasn't red anymore.
Yeah.
And my own luggage was on the rack at the foot of the bed.
But things like that just don't happen, Scubby.
Well, so I've heard, Patsy, but you can't prove it by me.
So you went to sleep in the airport in New York. When you woke up, your mind was in the body of a local crook named Palsy Gerson. And some of Gerson's pals knocked you over the head. And when you woke up again, you were back in your own body in this hotel.
Yeah, that's right.
And while you were using Gerson's body, somebody was using your body to kill that guy in the nightclub. Is that
Yeah. You know, I know it sounds insane, Nick, but that's the way I see it from here. And unless something happens, I'm slated for the electric chair.
Oh, gosh, Nick, we can't let anything happen to Scubby.
Don't worry, Patsy, we won't. Now, first we'll dye Scubby's hair, make him up so that he won't be too easily recognized in case the police are looking for him. Then I'll have the police pick up this Palsy Gerson, his girlfriend Dolly, and his 4 thugs, if they really exist. And somehow I think they do. I want to see what the body Scubby was using has to say for itself.
Well, Nick, these past 2 days haven't gotten us very far. We located Palsy Gerson, and he satisfied the police that he knows nothing about it. His girlfriend, Dolly, isn't the same girl who came to see me, and the telephone operator who called me Palsy has disappeared and can't be found. All of which adds up to a large round zero.
You're wrong, Scubby. It all adds up to proof that you were part of a well-laid plan.
But why, Nick? Why?
Look, Scubby, if the police discover that you're the one who apparently killed the man in the nightclub, they'll arrest you. And I, even with my reputation for being on the right side of the law, will be arrested with you as an accessory after the fact. Police couldn't do anything else. All of which would be an excellent way for somebody to commit a murder, and at the same time get someone he didn't like jailed for the said killing. Scubby, I think I'm the one they're after. And they used you to get me.
But how are we going to stop them, Nick? There's no proof that I did that murder. And we can't prove that I didn't do it.
That's what I'm trying to do now, Scubby. Get that proof before the police catch up with us. So far, I haven't had... Oh, Nancy, see who that is, will you?
Sure, Nick. Hold everything. Hold everything.
We have warrants for the arrest of Scubby Wilson and Nick Carter in connection with the murder of John Walters.
But why didn't they keep you in jail, too, Nick?
Because they were extremely decent about it, Patsy. They told me that although they had positive proof that Scubby committed the murder, and that I'd been abetting him in defiance of the law, they were so impressed with my insistence that Scubby didn't murder him that, out of consideration for my past reputation, they were going to give me 10 days to prove his innocence, if I could. If I fail in that time, I give myself up, and they proceed with the charges against Scubby and me.
How did they find out about him, Nick?
Very simple, Patsy. They sent the fingerprints they found on the gun to Washington, to the FBI, and they identified them as Scubby's. You know, he and I are both on file there as law enforcement agents.
Mm-hmm.
Little investigation found Scubby was living here, and the rest was easy.
What's your next move, Nick?
Patsy, if my hunch is right, the man behind this wants to get at me for some reason or other. So he's going to be awful mad when he finds the police have let me go again. And he may try to do something himself about getting me out of the way.
And if he doesn't?
I have a couple of the boys keeping their eyes open for anyone who looks like that mystic Scubby was telling us about. I believe he's at the bottom of all this, Patsy. If I can lay my hands on him, I feel sure he can tell us all the answers.
But he might mystic you, too, Nick, the way he did Scubby.
He might. But I doubt it. Well, I'm going down to pick up a paper at the newsstand. I'll be right back, Patsy. Evening Journal, please. Thanks. Don't make any sudden moves, Bud. Looking for me? You Nick Carter? Yes. Then you're the one we want. What can I do for you? Keep your hands in plain sight so me and my two boys here don't have to do any sudden shooting. This ain't a water pistol I got here. I'll take your word for it. What do we do now? The mystic wants to talk to you. Come on. And come quiet. Friend, any idea why the mystic wants to talk to me?
I don't think he likes the idea of the cops letting you go after they took you to the jug. He thought you was out of the way for keeps.
So now he's going to do something himself about getting rid of me, huh?
No. Me and the boys are going to do it for him.
When?
Now. As soon as we get down to the pier.
Oh. An old abandoned pier, I suppose.
Yeah. One where there ain't nobody to bother us when we take care of you. Just around the corner.
What are you planning to do with me?
A couple of sash weights tied to your legs will do the trick. After putting a couple of bullets through your head. Lucky.
Yeah?
You get out the sash weights and the rope. They're in the back of the car.
Okay.
Barney, right. You go get the girl. We'll take care of both the girl and Carter at the same time, like the boss suggested. All right, Carter. You and me will walk out on the pier together. But don't forget, I got this little persuader in my hand. It's getting dark, which is what we want, but
Even if you can't see this 38 of mine, it's still there pointing at you. I have no doubt you're right. And I shan't forget. You know you can't hope to kill me and not pay for it. I'll take my chances on that, Carter. You ain't the first guy I bumped off, and you ain't going to be the last. This'll be far enough. Well, then, there's not much I can do about it, is there? No. Oh, is that the girl coming with your pal there? Where? Oh, yeah. Drop that gun. I'll break your arm. Drop it. No noise if you want to stay alive. Don't drop it. Thanks. Now, I'll take charge here. I'll do just as I say, and you won't get hurt by trying any funny business. You'll never see daylight again, you understand? Yeah, I got you. Didn't need to break my arm off, though. Here comes the girl and Bernie. Not a sound of you. Okay.
Here she is, Spike. Got enough weight for the two of them?
Answer him right. Yeah. We got enough. Get on to bring her over here. Bring her over here.
Yeah, we're coming. You didn't want to come, but I...
Drop your gun and get your hands up, Bernie, quick. Quick, I said, get those hands up. I'll take your gun, too. Now, Bernie, come over here. Just a little closer now.
What are you going to do?
It's getting dark now. It's time for bed. So I'm just going to put you to sleep. Like this.
Gee, you're wonderful.
You don't have to kill him, do you, Carter? I didn't kill him.
You Nick Carter?
Why, yes, I am.
Oh, I've been praying something like this had happened, but I didn't think it would.
Quiet. We're not out of the woods yet.
All right.
Be quiet. Spike, keep your mouth shut if you want to keep on living. When he gets here, tell him to bring you the weights and stuff.
What'll I do with this stuff?
Now, got him. Bring this stuff over here, Lucky.
Okay.
Don't move, Lucky. I've got the gun this time. All right, young lady. Will you get the gun out of his pocket, please?
All right. Here it is.
I'll take it. Thanks. Now, Lucky, I want you to tie up your pal Bernie there.
Huh?
Then you can tie up Spike.
Yeah,
Then I'll tie you up. Give the finishing touches to all three of you and be on my way.
You mean you're going to leave us here?
That's exactly what I mean.
Why, you
All
jerk.
right, Lucky, get busy with those ropes. Time's getting short. I've got a real score to settle with your boss.
Gee, Mr. Carter, you're wonderful. You sure these lugs ain't going to get out of these ropes?
I'm sure. I've had lots of practice in this sort of thing. There. All right, come on. We can leave them there safely now.
Say, look, I ain't told you who I am yet, have I?
Why, no. Who are you?
I'm Dolly.
Dolly. You're not Gerson's friend.
No, I'm the other one. The one the mystic hired to visit your friend in the hotel.
So that's who you are.
Sure.
How much do you know about this racket?
Well, I didn't know nothing about it then, but since they snatched me and kept me locked up in their hideout, I learned a lot from listening to them talk.
Let's stop here a minute. What's this all about, Dolly? If that's your name.
Now, my real name's Ann. Did your friend really think he was Palsy, Gerson?
Yes, he certainly did, for a while. That's absurd, of course.
The mystic done it. He has an anesthetic gas that he gives you when you're asleep or knocked out. He doped your friend in the airport and brought him to Chicago. Then he had somebody make him up like a mobster, and he let him wake up in that taxi cab.
I suppose he paid all those people to put on the act that convinced Scubby he really was Palsy Gerson.
Only the taxi driver, the telephone girl, the hotel clerk, and me. The four thugs was already members of the gang.
And they beat him up so this mystic could give him another shot of the gas while he was unconscious and let him wake up as himself?
Yes. And he was so doped all the time we was putting on the act that he never could figure out what was going on.
Very clever. But how did you get in on this?
Oh, I wanted to be an actress. They hired me to put on his back. They told me they were ribbing some friend of theirs. But when I saw all the publicity in the papers and I saw that you got arrested, too, I knew it wasn't no gag. I went to where their headquarters was one day to see if they were still there so I could go to the police. But somebody saw me there and grabbed me. I've been locked up ever since.
You know why they wanted to do all this?
The mystic knew your friend was going to Philadelphia to get some dope on a racket. The mystic was the head of the gang, and he wanted to scare your friend off. He hoped he'd scare you off, too. He's getting ready to work the same racket all over the country. And you was the only one who was getting hot on his trail.
I thought that was it. And when we didn't scare off, he had to take matters into his own hands. I suppose it was one of the mystic's thugs who did the killing in the nightclub?
Yeah, it was Spike. Made up to look like your pal. And he left the evidence at the cop car.
Who was the man he killed?
Some fella wouldn't play ball the way he wanted him to.
Look, you know where the headquarters of this gang is?
Sure. Just about a block from here. Want me to show you?
You bet I do. With your help, I'm going to get that mystic. If he's there.
Come on. It's over this way. That's the place. That little house beside the warehouse.
Is there another entrance?
Yeah, round on the side. That's all.
How many in the gang?
5 besides the boy. You got 3 of them tied up on the piece.
Good. Can you handle a gun?
I don't know. I'll try it if you want me.
Good. Take this one. Go around to the other door. When you hear me fire once, you shoot that gun 6 shots fast. Can you do that?
Sure. What are you going to do?
When I pick the lock on this door, go in and try to trap them. If they try to make a getaway through the other door, the shots you fire will make them think they're surrounded. Okay?
Sure. Good luck, Mr. Carter. I'll be listening for you.
Now, Mr. Mystic, let's see how mystical you really are. First, I get this door open. There. That was easy. Guess they're not expecting trouble. Now, find them.
And with Spike taking care of Carter, and the cops taking care of that stooge of his, we'll have nothing to worry about any further. I guess we were too clever for the great Nick Carter.
Think so, do you? Up with your hands, all of you. Make it snap.
Nick Carter, ready for it?
Oh, good. You're surrounded. You can't get away.
Guns, boss. We ain't got a chance.
Drop your guns if you want to stay alive.
Very well. We're too many for us this time. Drop your boys. Drop.
Thank you. Now turn and stand up against the wall with your hands in the air. That's it. Oh, Ann. Ann, it's all over now. You can come in. Fight's over.
You got it, Mr. Carter? Gee, you're a real detective, ain't you?
All right, Ann. Go to the nearest telephone and call police headquarters.
Yeah.
Tell them we have the correct answer to the killing that Scubby's charged with. And
Yeah.
tell them to send some cops down here after them right away.
Sure thing, Mr. Carter. Now, who's on top, Mr. Mystic? Why don't you try a little magic now?
All right, Ann. Get going. Scubby will be very anxious to get this good news.
I'm on my way, Mr. Carter.
You mean you didn't have any police here with you?
No, my mystical friend. Just me and the girl. But using my own special brand of magic, you couldn't tell the difference. And that's the kind of magic worth using.
This has been another of the strange adventures of Nick Carter, Master Detective, which are brought to you regularly each week at the same time by WOR Mutual. Well, Nick, I'd like to hear a few of the high spots from next week's story.
Okay. Next week's story started with a cat.
But not a common, ordinary cat. This one was a lemon-yellow Persian cat with a pedigree.
The chase started when I tried to find the said pedigreed Persian puss, which had been stolen from its rightful and very ultra owner. But before long, I found I was involved in theft, kidnapping, murder, and other varieties of lawbreaking.
Which included being hit over the head and being shot at in the dark. Not exactly an amusing case.
No, Patsy, it was a deadly serious case before it was finished. I call it A Cat Brings Death.
Or The Mystery of the Missing Persian.
And that's all for now. So long.
So long, everybody.
And so long to you both, Nick and Patsy. In the strange adventure you have just heard, Nick Carter was impersonated by Lon Clark, Patsy by Helen Schultz, Scubby by John Kane. Original music was played by Lou White. The entire production was written and directed by Jock McGregor. Next week at the same time, listen to another curious experience of Nick Carter entitled
A Cat Brings Death, or Nick Carter and the Mystery of the Missing Persian.
This story is a copyrighted feature of Street and Smith Publications, Incorporated. The Return of Nick Carter is produced in the studios of WOR and is broadcast over most of these stations every Saturday evening at 10:15 Eastern War Time. This is Mutual.
This I believe. Donald Day is a writer, editor, and authority on the American Southwest and on Will Rogers. Among the volumes he has edited are the Autobiography of Will Rogers, Franklin D. Roosevelt's own story, and Woodrow Wilson's own story, as well as several works on Texas folklore. Here is Donald Day's own down-to-earth creed.
I believe in dynamic democracy. By this, I mean a democracy broad enough to encompass all human relationships from the individual to the eternal, and a framework that keeps always in sight, regardless of momentary success or failure, liberty, equality, and brotherhood. I reject what Francis Parkman in the 1850s called the national disease, rising in the world, or what is more commonly known as success. I cannot live in dignity and in peace with myself if my goal is to be so narrow and restricted. I don't believe anybody can. That does not mean that I should not do things nor have things. Far from it. It is a challenge to make what I do and what I have the means and not the end. I must control the doing and own the having rather than let them control and own me. As a man, I believe in living with a woman in happiness and creative fulfillment, and I believe just as sincerely that the woman I live with has the right to expect the same. I believe that the man and woman should have a separate life so that their lives together can be greatly enriched. I believe that the same basic relationship of an individual to his wife should be broadened and extended to the community, the state, the nation, and the world. I believe the rule should be not rising in the world, but rising with the world. Only in this way are the fundamental and glaring faults in American democracy to be corrected. Surely they cannot be cured by totalitarianism or dictatorship, which are indeed scientific and selfishly perfected rising in the world. I believe that rising in the world has made the United States the most materialistic, the most prosperous, and the most uncomfortable nation on earth. It has led innumerable men and women and even children to think that the highest aim in life is to get and not give. Surely the road to sterility and decadence and eventually to materialistic poverty. I see rising in the world creating jungle-fanging tactics expressed in showy houses, expensive automobiles, the 10 best-dressed women, paunchy men in plush clubs, and countless other neuroticisms. I see women-made pawns and men pawnbrokers. If this is to be the yeast with which the loaf of democracy is baked, the rest of the world will find it soggy eating. On the political side, I believe rising in the world has made of the American government the instrumentalities for individuals and groups to use for selfish aggrandizement rather than basic umpires with laws and rules to ensure the greatest good for the greatest number. I recall that on November 11, 1918, Woodrow Wilson warned that the United States must hold the light steady until the war-torn world recovered its equilibrium. Instead, the United States rushed back to normalcy, another word for rising in the world. In the spiritual field, I believe rising in the world has created creeds and churches competing with each other by giving comfort and solace to men and women too selfishly employed to rise with the world on weekdays. If money tithing could be changed to time tithing with the dynamic democracy as Christ as a guide, I believe there might be fewer massive and glittering churches but more glowing hearts. These are some of the demands of dynamic democracy, which I believe is the only way to defeat the jet plane rising in the world of totalitarian enslavement.
That was Donald Day, a native Texan who has made himself a leading expert on the life and ideas of America's cowboy philosopher, Will Rogers.
Wheaties presents Night Beat. On stage tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, Night Beat, another in the Wheaties' big parade of exciting half-hour presentation. Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. My stories start in many different ways. This one began with an old man's fury and ended with the murder of a dream.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. The
how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Get up in the morning and get real close to a bowl full of these little golden flakes. See if it isn't a wonderful morning, because Wheaties are fun to get up to. Bright, crisp, friendly little flakes of whole wheat. And they're fairly crackling with vitamins and minerals to help you work happy all morning long. Shake on some strawberries, or bananas if you'd rather. Pour on the milk, and you've got it. Breakfast of champions. Try 'em. See how Wheaties at 7 can help at 11.
It was one of those half-spring, half-winter nights. I tried to convince myself that the tingling in my toes was youth on the march, but it was only the stone corpuscle slowing up. So I'd almost decided to go back to the office and do a human interest story on the H-bomb when I noticed where I was. It was on one of those streets lined with cheap tenements. In front of one of them, a taxi stood at the curb. The driver was shaking his finger under the nose of an old man who shivered in his shirt sleeves. I moved closer.
I tell you ain't going no place, Pop. You run a bill of 6 bits. It's on the meter.
But I will pay you as soon as I can.
Sure. 10 to 1, you ain't seen 6 bits in the last year.
But you must take me to where I want to go. You must.
You ain't getting back in my hat.
But you've got to take me. I am going to get...
Okay, I asked you nice.
Hey, come on, take it easy, both of you.
This ain't none of your business, mister.
I heard you arguing.
Please, it's getting late. I've got to go.
He ain't going in my cab.
Why not? What'd he do?
Now, look. Since you stuck your nose in okay, I'll tell you. He gives me a call when I'm cruising. I pick him up. He gives me an address. I get almost there, and he tells me to come here. Here.
Well, what's wrong with here?
Mister, look at this crummy joint. Look at the guy. No hat, no coat. He gets out, I ask for the 6 bits, and find out he's got no dough.
Oh? Is that right?
Yeah, but he will get paid. I will get some money.
Sure, he'll win a sweepstakes, but I can't wait.
Here. Here's your money.
You paying for it?
Yeah, I'll pay for it. That make everything all right?
I will give it back to you someday. I'll give it back. But don't let the driver
Pop,
go.
I got news for you. I'm practically in St. Louis. He's all yours, mister. You paid 6 bits for him.
No, make him wait. Make him...
Take it easy, Pop. Come on. Settle down.
He's gone, and I didn't do it.
You live here?
Yeah, I had to come back for something.
Well, look, we better get you to your room. It's cold. You got no coat.
But I have to go. You see, I must kill Miss Gleason.
That's what he said. He had to kill Miss Gleason. But somehow I couldn't take him seriously. He looked too gentle and too human. Anyway, he let me take him up 4 flights to an attic room. He opened the door, he turned on the light. He hesitated for a moment, and then...
I'm sorry, there's no chair. That is one you can use.
Oh, forget it, Pop. My, you got a lot of stuff in here.
Yeah.
Paints, brushes, canvas, they're yours?
Well, yeah, you see, I paint.
Oh, an artist?
No, I'm afraid I'm not worthy of being called that.
But you did all these paintings.
Oh, yeah. Everyone?
Mm-hmm. Ever sell any of them?
No.
Oh, I see.
No, you don't. I didn't paint them to sell. Painting became the only way I could speak. The world is not a very nice place sometimes, but I could change that by a bit of color, the stroke of a brush, the...
Go on.
Yeah. I'm not mad, am I?
Well, that depends on how we define madness, Mr.
Wyman, Alfred Wyman.
Spent a lot of money on all this, Mr. Wyman.
Every penny.
And you didn't have 75 cents for that cab?
I would have paid him. He could have had a picture. Look, you take one. Here's one I finished just last night.
Well,
Do you like it?
Well, I'm no judge of art.
But you must be. You are the only person who has never laughed. Not like Miss Gleason.
Oh, yes, Miss Gleason. You remember what you said downstairs?
Yeah.
I don't think you meant it.
I did. Then, don't you see, Mr.
Stone, Randy Stone. Oh. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
I wanted to punish her. She had me discharged because I knew what she did.
Only I knew it, Mr. Stone.
And what did she do?
She killed Vincent.
What's that?
I know she did. She killed him and put him in the basement.
What are you talking about?
That is why I wanted to kill her.
Why didn't you go to the police?
The one would take my word against hers. Look at me.
Where is she now?
Her home. I was going there.
To kill her?
Yeah.
Where does she live?
Why?
Well, I'd like to talk to her.
You don't believe me, do you?
Well, I'd like to get a few things straight.
No, please believe me. She killed Vincent. She'll say she didn't. But I know.
All right, Pop, all right. Now, if I go to see her, you've got to promise me you'll stay here until I get back.
Yeah. I will wait.
All right, fine. Now, give me her address. Why didn't I go to the police? Well, with what? Wyman's story? I don't think I believe him then. But funnier things have happened to me, maybe because I looked for them. A half hour later, the clerk in a very shishi apartment hotel sent my name up with the urgent tag on it and the fact that I was from the Star. Yes, Miss Gleason would see me. And did.
Mr. Stone, may I see your credentials?
Why, sure. There you are.
I see. Just why are you here?
I told you. About Vincent.
I don't know of Vincent. And I
ever know anyone named Alfred Wyman?
Alfred Wyman?
Yeah, that's the name.
What has he got to do with this?
Everything. He told me about Vincent.
He's mad. A lunatic.
Is he? Miss Gleason, when I first saw him, he was on his way here.
Here? He was coming here?
That's right. Now maybe you'd like to talk about Vincent?
Suppose you talk about him, Mr. Stone. You seem to know all about it. Wyman told you, didn't he?
You're a very cool person, Miss Gleason.
Do I have any reason to become hysterical?
Well, some people would think murder was reason enough.
You said murder?
Yeah.
Just exactly what did Wyman tell you?
That you killed Vincent.
And did he tell you what became of Vincent?
Yeah. You, put him in the basement.
And now that you have all the facts, what do you intend to do about it?
Well, call the police.
Oh, of course. That's the logical thing to do, isn't it? But, Mr. Stone, there's the phone. Call the police.
You seem very sure that I won't.
Go ahead.
All right.
Oh, before you're connected.
Yeah.
Have you thought that all this may make you look ridiculous?
Meaning what, Miss Gleason?
Put down the phone, please, for a moment.
Now what?
Since you seem to have concerned yourself with it, you may as well continue. If you want to, that is. Do you?
What's on your mind, Miss Gleason?
I want you to come with me.
Where?
Are you afraid, Mr. Stone?
Of what?
Maybe of what you'll find out.
General Mills is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
You know, I wish I could stop in and see you folks. Oh, I wouldn't stay long, but I'd like to just step in with a box of Wheaties and open it up and pass them around. Do you know how good they are? Golly, my 3-year-old eats them right out of the box like peanuts. There's a kind of nut-like taste to Wheaties, you know. It's the whole wheat taste. It's good. I suppose that's one reason why more people eat Wheaties than any other whole wheat flakes. Oh, they're awfully good for you, too, of course. There's whole wheat energy in every crisp little whole wheat flake. Vitamins, too. Minerals, too. Well, go ahead. Have your Wheaties and admit you eat them for the fun of it. Get yourself a package of Wheaties one of these days, like tomorrow. You don't have to stop and think, these are good for me. Just put on the milk and the strawberries and think, this is real eating. That's Wheaties, breakfast of champions. Breakfast for you. Have some.
And now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
It was a strange ride in the cab with Miss Gleason. She watched me with a peculiar little smile on her face as though she were amused at a joke. There was no concern at all, just an icy coldness and a confidence that disturbed me. Then the cab pulled up in front of the address Miss Gleason had given. We got out and walked up a flight of marble stairs.
Surprised at coming here, Mr. Stone?
Bender Art Galleries.
There's a night bell there. Ring it. The night watchman will be here in a moment.
Well, what do we do here?
You want to see Vincent? Very well. Here's the watchman. It's Miss Gleason, Charles. Open the door, please.
You forgot something, Miss Gleason?
No, Charles.
Anything I can do, Miss Gleason?
This gentleman and I are going to the basement.
Basement?
Yes. Please turn on the lights down there.
Sure, Miss Gleason. They'll be on by the time you get there.
Thank you. Oh, Charles.
Yes, sir?
As soon as you turn them on, come into the basement.
Right away, Miss Gleason.
Well, Mr. Stone? Coming?
You first, Miss Gleason.
Certainly. This way. Lights are on. Shall I go first, Mr. Stone?
I insist, Miss Gleason.
Everything all right, Miss Gleason?
Yes, Charles. Quite all right. Come along, Mr. Stone.
The stairs are kind of steep, mister. You're not used to them. They'll fall.
I'll sort of watch my step.
You want me to stay, Miss Gleason?
For a moment, Charles. Well, Mr. Stone, what do you see?
The basement.
Anything else?
Oh, nothing.
You're not looking in the right place, Mr. Stone. Over there to your left, on the floor.
What is all this?
Leaning against the wall.
That picture?
Go over and look at it. Can you read the signature on it?
It's a print.
A cheap print. But read the signature.
Vincent Van Gogh.
All right, Charles. That'll be all, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Miss Gleason.
Now, Mr. Stone, do you realize how big a fool you'd have made of yourself if you'd called the police?
This is Vincent?
That is Vincent.
Why didn't you tell me before?
I wanted you to see it with your own eyes. You took Wyman's word against mine, believed him. I wanted to make you look and feel as ridiculous as this whole idiotic thing is. Now, good night, Mr. Stone.
I don't think so.
What?
He said you had him discharged, did you?
Yes.
Why? What's this Van Gogh print got to do with it?
He'd become a nuisance, an old fool.
All I saw was a pathetic old man.
Get out of here.
First, tell me why Wyman was fired.
He was a guard here. It was his job to see that people kept their hands off the paintings. But he'd become a nuisance. Yesterday, I happened to go into one of the rooms. Wyman was there, speaking to one of the customers. A thing he had absolutely no right to do.
No, please don't buy it, Mr. Evans. It is not good. It is cheap and tawdry. Look at the tricks he uses. Tricks? There's no depth. It is shallow.
Wyman! Wyman!
Oh, yes, Miss Gleason.
Please come here.
But I'm talking to Mr. Evans.
I was just leaving, Miss Gleason.
Mr. Evans, if you'll just wait, we'll talk about the Willoughby picture.
I don't think I want it now.
But, Mr. Evans, surely you don't think Wyman knows anything
I don't know, Miss Gleason. You seem to hit the nail on the head. Painting is shallow. Good day, Miss Gleason.
Wyman, how dare you?
I only did what I felt was right, Miss Gleason.
You meddling idiot. I've had enough of this. You come with me.
But, Miss Gleason...
Go on, go to Mr. Temple's office.
Yes, ma'am.
How dare you criticize a painter like Willoughby?
He? But he is not a good painter.
What do you know about it?
I know he's not good, and he doesn't feel what he paints.
I've got to talk to you, Mr. Temple.
About Wyman.
Wyman? Oh, not again.
Please, Mr. Temple, I did nothing.
He did nothing but keep Mr. Evans from buying the Willoughby.
Oh, ridiculous. Mr. Evans wouldn't listen to what Wyman has to say.
But he did. He knew what I was trying to say.
Mr. Temple, Wyman has made me look ridiculous for the last time. This is the last straw. I'll go to the board.
Miss Gleason,
I'll not put up with it. And the board won't like to hear that the Willoughby hasn't been sold because this fool...
Miss Gleason, remember there's an exhibition of Willoughby's paintings tomorrow. We have enough to do without bothering...
Either this man is discharged or I'll resign and tell the board why. You seem to forget this is a business, Mr. Temple.
Are you worried about business or your own feelings, Miss Gleason?
Mr. Temple, I warned you. I'm going to the board.
Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Wyman.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid Miss Gleason is right. We'll have your check for you this afternoon. You were warned several times.
I know, Mr. Temple. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Temple.
It was a distinct pleasure, Miss Gleason. Now, both of you leave me alone. I'm busy.
You had this coming, Wyman.
You think I care about the job, don't you? But I don't. I only care... But... Where is it?
Where is what? What's the matter with you?
The Van Gogh. The one I hung there.
You hung that cheap print.
What did you do with him? Where is it? What did you do with it?
I had it put in the basement.
You destroyed it. You killed Vincent. You and people like you. You laugh. You won't understand what a great man is trying to say with his art. You killed Vincent, and now you want to kill me because I understand. But you can't, and you won't. I will kill you first.
Morgan, Samuel, come here, quickly.
You killed him because you couldn't understand him. You killed him.
Morgan, Samuel!
I will
Get him out there. He's crazy. Get him out. That's all there is to it, Mr. Stone.
Mm-hmm. That's all, but what happens now?
How do you mean?
Well, to Wyman. You call him a lunatic, maybe he's not. Maybe he's just sick, but he can be cured by sympathy and understanding. Why don't you try those, Miss Gleason?
I don't care to discuss it anymore.
Just a minute. You know what he does?
No, and I care less.
He paints.
He paints?
Yes, every night. His room is filled with paintings he did because they made him feel good.
Masterpieces.
I don't know. I guess not, but that's not the point.
What is the point, Mr. Stone?
The point is he was lonely, and he made a world of his own, and he lived in it. He did those paintings because they were his only expression. They took him out of a bitter and unfeeling world that rushed past him too fast for him to share in it. And maybe he's right, Miss Gleason. Maybe we did kill men like Van Gogh because we didn't understand or didn't want to. Admit just once that you understand and like something different, and you've set yourself apart. You're a curiosity.
You're as mad as he is.
Well, thank you, Miss Gleason. I think that's the nicest thing anyone ever said to me. Good night. Oh, sure, it did me a lot of good to tell Miss Gleason off. It did Alfred Wyman a lot of good, too, but not much. I had to go back to his rooming house to tell him that he was mad and the rest of us was sane. I went up the stairs, but when I knocked at his door...
You're looking for Wyman?
Yes, I am. He's here, isn't he?
Not much he ain't. I put him out.
You what?
Put him out.
When?
Oh, about an hour ago. You a friend of his?
Yes, I am. Why did you put him out?
I'll show you. Nearly burned down my house, he did. Look at this room. I ain't going to get the smell out for days.
He burned everything.
Like as not, he'd have had us all roasted in our beds if I didn't smell the stink this stuff was making.
All of his brushes, his paints, his canvases. Why? Did he say why?
Mister, if you're a friend of his, you'll go after him with a rope.
I asked you why he did this. Did he say?
Sure. He said it was a joke. That it was going to be a big joke. And then I chased him out.
Joke? What did he mean? Could you understand what he meant?
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. Even if it wasn't, I couldn't make out what that loony was talking about.
Which way did he go?
Oh, up the street. He took something with him.
Never mind that. Do you know where he might be?
You know, Miss Gleason?
Gleason, yes. Why?
Well, he might have gone to see her. Because he said the joke was going to be on her.
I got to a telephone fast, found Miss Gleason's number, and called it.
Hello?
Miss Gleason?
Yes? Who's that?
Stone, Randy Stone.
What? Mr. Stone, I'd like to know...
Just a moment, listen to me. Are you all right?
Beyond the fact that I'm rapidly growing to hate you, I am all right, yes. Now, will you please...
Please listen to me. I can't find Wyman.
Isn't that too bad?
I'm trying to tell you he might be on his way to see you.
See me? Why?
I don't know, but if he shows up there, you...
Won't get past the clerk downstairs.
I'll keep your door locked.
I usually do, and I look under the bed.
Please, Miss Gleason, this is serious, or it might be.
Are you trying to say that ridiculous old fool will try to harm me?
Yes. If you want it straight, yes. Did you hear me?
I certainly did, and I think it's nonsense. Now I'm going to hang up.
Miss Gleason...
I'm going to hang up, but before I do, there's one more thing. Please make a determined effort to live your life without me. Goodbye.
That click in the receiver was very final, and it made me feel a little foolish. After all, what could Alfred Wyman do? Killer? I didn't know, but what was his big joke, and when would it happen? At 3:30 in the morning, I gave up trying to find him. I went home, I fell asleep at 5:30, and I didn't wake up until after 11. And with daylight, it all seemed a little silly. But like the proverbial sore tooth, I had to bother it. I put in a call to Miss Gleason. She wasn't in her apartment. So I headed for the one place I hated to go to, the Bender Art Galleries. I had a funny feeling I'd learned something I didn't want to learn. There was a strange excitement there. People milled around, pushed together in little groups. I looked around for Miss Gleason. She wasn't there. And then I saw Charles, the night watchman. I went to him. Charles.
Yes, sir? Oh, you're the man.
Yes, that's right, last night. Look, where's Miss Gleason?
Why?
Where is she?
Miss Gleason is in the basement.
Where's Mr. Temple's office?
Right there, sir. That door.
Thank you.
Of course. We're doing all we can now, and I'll let you know. Oh, goodbye.
Mr. Temple.
Yes? Oh, who are you?
Randy Stone, Chicago Star.
Well, there's nothing I can tell you now, so please wait outside with the other newspaper men.
Why, what's happened?
Well, where were you?
Well, where's Miss Gleason? Where is...
Mr. Temple,
You.
Oh, Miss Gleason, I never thought I'd be glad to see you, but I am.
Now, what the devil is going on? Miss Gleason, did you...
Yes. The Willoughby painting was in the basement. Someone took it there.
In the basement? The Willoughby? Mr. Temple...
Thank goodness it's been found. If it had been stolen, well, who on earth put it in the basement?
If I tell you, will you tell me what's happened around here?
Don't you know?
What's happened here?
Well, we were to exhibit Willoughby's latest painting. But when I pulled aside the drapes... just a moment. This was in its place. Instead of the Willoughby, this painting was hanging, unsigned.
Mr. Stone, you seem to know more about this than we do.
Yes, I do. Mr. Temple, a man named Alfred Wyman played a joke on you. He painted this.
Wyman?
Yeah.
That miserable... Of course. He had a key. He could get in the back way before anyone...
It was a joke on you, Miss Gleason. Willoughby in the basement...
Where is he now? Where's Wyman?
I don't know. I left word to call me in case he's located.
But his painting...
It's a harmless joke.
A joke?
Yes. He burned everything else he had. He left this for you.
Oh, excuse me. Hello? What? Oh, yes. Yes, for you, Mr.
Oh, thank you. Hello. Yeah? What? Oh, all right. Thank you.
What is it, Mr. Stone?
That idiotic old man has made us a laughing stock with his daubing. He's got to be confined.
I wouldn't worry about that, Miss Gleason. He's dead.
Dead?
He killed himself. His body was found in the park this morning.
Well, I'm sorry, of course.
Yes, bitter tears are running down your cheeks.
I had no idea he...
No, I guess not. Neither did I. Maybe you're not to blame, Miss Gleason. Maybe no one is. Maybe it was just his way of protesting against a world that gets a little smothering sometimes. If you don't mind, I'll go. I'll take this with me.
Wait, Mr. Stone.
Yeah.
Why do you want that painting?
Why? I don't know.
Is it yours?
No, I guess not, but it's
Well,
the
then,
only one.
please, leave it. I never wanted Wyman fired.
Now everyone's going to blame me. I was only
Doing what you thought was right, yeah. Okay, well, maybe you were. Let's forget it.
Well, I can't, Mr. Stone. You see, it wasn't so much the disappearance of the Willoughby that disturbed me. It was this painting.
This painting? What about it?
It's great, Mr. Stone. Truly great.
Well, it was a big joke, all right. But on whom? Was it on Wyman himself? I think not. On us? Well, isn't it always? It's a joke that's been going on for years and years and will never stop. It's played 1,000 times and we never learn to dodge the gag. We never see it coming. The joke that we never appreciate the sane people until it's too late. Copy, boy.
You are listening to Night Beat on the Wheaties Big Parade.
Say, Frank.
Yeah, what is it, Frank?
Every time I did the commercials today, you were grinning at me. What's up?
Well, nothing, but you seem to be having so much fun doing the sweet commercials, I'd kind of like to try it sometime.
Fine, Frank. Go right ahead.
Well, I can't do it like you, but all I know about Wheaties is they taste good and I like them. What does it make them taste so good, Frank?
Well, I guess it's the whole wheat in Wheaties. Why, if you'd stand out there in a wheat-filled field soaking up that good sunshine, I bet you'd...
Yeah, I know. I'd get sunburned.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, Wheaties are toasted, too. Makes them crisp, gives them kind of a nut-sweet taste. That's one of the reasons you like Wheaties so well.
Yeah, well, you're probably right, but, you know, like I say, all I know about Wheaties is they taste good and I like them.
That's what just about everybody says about Wheaties, Frank. That's exactly why Wheaties are America's favorite whole wheat flakes.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Russell Hughes with music by Frank Worth. The part of Wyman was played by Ben Wright. Jeanette Nolan played Miss Gleason. Others in tonight's cast were Wilms Herbert, Martha Wentworth, and Larry Dobkin. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness.
And this is the Wheaties man, Frank Martin, inviting you to listen also on Tuesday, that's tomorrow night, to the Penny Singleton Show on the Wheaties Big Parade. See you then.
Night Beat came to you transcribed from Hollywood. Stay tuned for Alona Massey in Top Secret over most NBC stations.
This I believe. We have never accepted the myth that the mentality of the average American is that of a 12-year-old. Neither has movie producer Dory Sherry. This faith in the intelligence of human beings has resulted for us in this series of broadcasts of living creeds, and for Mr. Sherry in truly adult motion pictures. His tremendous ability as a writer, producer, and executive, which he has used honestly and vigorously in support of his high principles, has firmly established him as one of Hollywood's first citizens. This is his creed.
What we believe is usually the result of what we have lived, and it is difficult to synopsize 46 years of living and believing in 600 words. But these things I do believe. Having been reared in a religious home, and having known many people of sincere and deep religious convictions of many faiths, I believe in God and in prayer. I believe in the Ten Commandments, and since obedience to the law is a deep factor in the Jewish faith, I believe conscientiously in law and order. Being the son of immigrant parents who found opportunity and security in America, and having been a student of our history, I believe deeply in America and its conscience and philosophy. I believe that our republic has operated for a longer time with more good for most people than any other government in history, and so I believe in democracy, and view any kind of totalitarianism as a dangerous threat and a menace. Having been happily married for 20 years and blessed with 3 children, I have firm convictions about the family unit and its effect on the human spirit. Since love and understanding form the keystone of the family unit, and since our society is actually an extension of the family unit, spreading from the family to the neighborhood, to the city, to the state, to the nation, and hopefully one day to the world, I most sincerely believe in love and understanding. Having enjoyed the friendship of many people in many places for many years, I believe in the innate dignity of the individual, and have learned that in the main, people are as we choose to find them. I also believe that reason can overcome prejudice, that knowledge can overcome ignorance, that love can overcome hate, and that goodness can conquer evil. Finally, I believe that in our temporal world, the greatest force that can operate for the best interest of all is the cleansing and strengthening force of wisdom, without which man would still be living in caves, slightly removed from the beasts whose skin he would wear to cover himself. Wisdom has given us our homes, our factories, and our dams, our medicine and our automobiles, our toys and our weapons, our subways and our planes, our books and our radio, our motion pictures and our television. Wisdom has given us our faith, and wisdom brings us hope and trust in the future, along with pride in our past. With wisdom we flourish and live. Without it we wither and die. With wisdom years can keep us young in heart and mind. Without it we grow old. With wisdom we can be strong and know no fear. Without it we become weak and frightened. These things I believe, not alone because I choose them, but primarily because I have lived them. And living is believing.
That was Dory Sherry, head of production at MGM. The son of immigrant parents, Mr. Sherry reached his present position by way of jobs as necktie salesman, printer's devil, manual laborer, actor, playwright, director, and producer. His convictions make us realize that Hollywood itself has promise of maturity.
As Richard Diamond, private detective.
Diamond Detective Agency, surplus homicide, surplus hand grenades, black market embalming.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, Helen, what's with you?
It's what's with you I'm worried about.
What do you mean, what's with me?
You know what's with you.
Now, you stop that. That's my routine.
I want that which you pilfered from the living room the other night, and I want it back, and I want it right away.
Oh, but Helen, baby.
Don't you baby me. Now, you get it down here.
But I can't leave the office. I just got in. I haven't even washed out one sock.
Rick, it wasn't fair when you stole that picture, and I've been embarrassed about it ever since. Now, I want it back.
Oh, but, honey, don't be that way. It looks lovely.
Can you see it?
Well, sure. Got it right on my desk.
Now, Rick, I won't have it.
Now, look. If anybody asks about it, I'll say it's me.
You never were a baby. You started with a beard and a low whistle.
Honey, I had a baby picture just like it once, and believe me, from the way you were facing in the picture, you couldn't tell the difference between us.
I'm lying on a rug. You probably had yours taken on spikes. Now, you bring that right over, or I'll tell everybody your middle name.
Helen.
I'll see you in 20 minutes, or I'll take a full-page ad in the Times.
You wouldn't.
20 minutes. With the picture. Bye.
Helen. Oh, dandy.
Mr. Diamond?
Yes, but I'm afraid you'll have to come back. I've got to take care of something that might mean my whole future as a private detective.
I'm sorry. I won't keep you, but... Well, could you tell me the name of another good detective?
There aren't any. Goodbye.
Oh, please. I don't know where to go.
Oh, now, well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Something's really wrong, isn't it?
Well, That's all right, Mr. Diamond. You go on. I'll find someone.
Look, I really didn't know you were in a tough spot. I've got enough time to listen.
Oh, thank you.
Who recommended me?
My son. Oh, I've heard about you for several years. My name's Kirby. Mrs. Lenore Kirby.
How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? Just how did your son know me?
Well, he didn't know you well, only by reputation. He was a private detective also.
Kirby? Bill Kirby?
Yes.
Wow. Now, tell me what's worrying you, Mrs. Kirby.
Well, I don't know quite where to start. Bill has been acting strangely for the last month or so.
What exactly do you mean by strangely?
He's changed. He's begun to act nervous and irritable. When his sister or I would try to find out what was wrong, he'd get angry. He got steadily worse. And then one morning, Gloria? My daughter, Bill's sister.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, she went into his room. He was asleep, so she started to hang up his trousers. When she turned them upside down, a lot of money dropped on the floor.
Oh? Well, what do you mean, a lot of money?
Gloria said there must have been several $1,000s. Mostly $100 bills.
Did he have another source of income? I mean, besides the private detective business?
Oh, no. At least nothing I know of.
Mm-hmm.
We're not wealthy, Mr. Diamond. Bill supports us with what he makes, and Gloria works as a secretary in a law firm, and I try to keep my house in order. Of course, I haven't been terribly well since the children's father died 10 years ago.
I see. Then what happened?
Well, Gloria started to put the money back in Bill's trousers, and he woke up. They had a terrible argument. Bill accused her of snooping, and she accused him of doing something illegal. The next day, Bill packed his clothes and left the house. He took a small apartment on 110th Street.
Uh-huh. Now, what is it you want me to do?
Oh, well, there's more to the story. Bill continued to send me money to keep the house going, much more than he'd ever contributed before. I went over to his apartment several times and asked him about the money, and every time there'd be an argument.
Did he give you any kind of an excuse?
No, he just said he'd run into a good thing, and that as long as it was helping out with the house, I shouldn't ask any questions.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then what happened?
Well, 3 days ago, Bill came over to the house. I could tell he was terribly worried about something. He gave me a package, told me to hide it until he came for it and not to open it. Then he disappeared. He didn't go to his office or his apartment, and I haven't heard from him since.
Did you call the police?
Well, I didn't want to. He's mixed up in something. Oh, Mr. Diamond, I'm sure something's happened to my boy. I just know it has.
Look, Mrs. Kirby, I admit it sounds a little fishy, but you never can tell. Maybe it's a girl. Could be a lot of things. Where do you live?
984 Amsterdam Avenue. Oh, thank you.
Now, you go on home. Take it easy. I'll let you know if anything turns up.
All right. I'm sorry I don't usually cry like this. Oh, Mr. Diamond, about your fee.
Mrs. Kirby?
Yes?
Do you cook?
Why, yes, I'm considered quite a good cook.
Well, if I do anything for your son, I'm a sucker for corned beef and cabbage. Now, go on home, and I'll keep in touch with you.
Goodbye, Mr. Diamond. God bless you.
I'm afraid he knows me too well. Goodbye, Mrs. Kirby. Funny how you can run into a situation like that. Any other time, it's got to be $100 a day in expenses. But that's because trouble doesn't usually bother me. There's too much of it around, and everybody's a stockholder. Then a little old lady walks in with a bucket full of heartache, and you realize the $100 a day in expenses is only the difference you carry around to make up for that big cold world outside. I put my merit badge away, grabbed Helen's picture off the desk, and headed for 975 Park Avenue.
Well, you're late. I was just going to call the papers, but I wasn't quite sure how you spell your middle name. It's, C-H-O...
Here's the picture.
Thank you.
I didn't know you had a mole in your...
Rick. Aren't you coming in?
No, I'm not. I'm mad. Won't even let me keep your little baby picture. Now, about that mole...
Now, you stop that. Why can't you come in?
Well, I got a client right after I talk to you. I got to go down to the 5th precinct and do some checking.
Will I see you tonight?
If you'll tell me about the mole.
Now, Rick.
See you at 8. Bye, mole. Sam, a baby. I left Helen and started down Park Avenue. Every private detective must get a license before he can operate, and the police department has to issue it. So I headed for the 5th Precinct Police Station. When I walked in the squad room, I spotted Sergeant Otis looking like he was headed for the elephant's graveyard. What's the matter with you, Otis? You're greener than a new lawn.
Oh, hello, Shamus. I don't feel so good.
No, as a matter of fact, you don't. A little pudgy around the shoulders.
Ah, come on, lay off. I tell you, I feel sick.
Let's see your tongue.
Huh? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Well, how's it look?
I don't know. But be careful who you show it to. Somebody's liable to think it's poisonous and kill it with a stick. Hello, Walt.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm too tired to be scared off today. Who's dead and where?
Not today, Walt. And what are you so tired about?
We had a killing this morning. I've questioned every suspect in the whole state. Nothing.
Who got dead?
Maybe you knew him. Shamus.
Kirby?
What? How the devil did you know that?
Just a guess.
Guess my 38. You know something?
I didn't know anything, Walt. Kirby's mother was just at my office.
Oh.
Yeah, oh.
Well, you don't have to get sore.
I'm not sore. Just wondering who's going to tell Mrs. Kirby.
Otis went over there a little while ago. He saw the sister. The mother wasn't home yet.
Oh, that's why he looks so bad.
Yeah, I guess so. Wouldn't you?
Okay, where's the body?
Downstairs. You want to take a look?
Not especially. I told his mother I'd do something for him, and right now I don't seem to be able to think of a thing.
Get the killer. Help me.
Okay, let's go down and take a look.
Right over here.
Been in the river.
Yeah. Put 4 slugs in him first, though.
What kind of a gun?
12-gauge shotgun. Used a deer load.
Anything on him?
Just the usual identification.
Okay, let's put him back.
I don't know why he got knocked off. No motive, no nothing.
The mother has quite a story.
Yeah?
She told me her son...
Hey, Lieutenant!
Oh, no. Yeah?
And here comes Malicious.
Hey, we just got a call. Kirby's mother and sister just got beat up. Something awful.
What?
Come on, Walt.
Oh, this is crazy. First the son gets it for no apparent reason, and then the rest of the family get beat up.
I think I can tell you why the mother and sister got beat up.
Yeah, why?
Probably the package Kirby left with his mother.
What package?
I'll tell you about it on the way over in the car.
Okay, Otis, okay. Come on, step on it.
Lieutenant.
Yeah. This time you can use the siren.
Oh, boy.
Come in.
Hello, Mrs. Kirby. The doctor tells us you won't allow them to take you to the hospital.
No, I'm not leaving my house. It'll take more than 2 cheap hoodlums to drive me out of my house.
Well, the doctor says you'll be all right, but I think the hospital might be safer for a few days.
This is Lieutenant Levinson, Mrs. Kirby.
How do you do?
How do you do? I know you don't feel much like talking.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. I'll be glad to help in any way that I can.
Were they after the package your son left with you?
Yes, but I didn't give it to them. I almost did when they started to hit Gloria, but I knew they had something to do with Bill's death.
And you knew the package was important, too?
Yes.
Well, where is the package, Mrs. Kirby?
In the bread box, in a bread wrapper.
Pretty cute.
Otis.
Yeah, Lieutenant?
Go in the kitchen and bring me the loaf of bread in the bread box.
You want some sardines, too?
Otis, just the bread. Please?
Oh, okay.
Mrs. Kirby, the 2 men who came here, do you think you could identify them?
Oh, yes. It would be hard to forget them.
You're sure you don't have any idea what kind of trouble your son was in?
No.
Here's the bread, Lieutenant.
Yeah. Well, I'll be...
Hey, it's a shoe.
Is this one of your son's shoes, Mrs. Kirby?
No. He wears much smaller size. No, that isn't his shoe.
I don't get this. Nothing in it, just a shoe.
A big one. What size is it?
Hey.
What's the matter?
Well, the shoe size on the inside. It says 6B and then 5 numbers after it.
Well, if that says 6B, Otis wears matchboxes.
Oh, yeah?
Otis. Oh, okay.
I don't understand. Why would Bill leave a shoe and act like it was so important?
Because it probably was very important.
You think these numbers?
Could be. Let's see. Well, if these numbers do mean anything, it sure isn't going to be easy finding out. Here's something, Walt.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Shoe's got new heels on it. It's been half soled.
Otis. Yeah, Lieutenant. Take the shoe down at the station. Give it to the lab. See what they can find out. And then get the boys out and check every shoe repair shop in the city. I want to know where the shoe was half sold.
Okay.
Mrs. Kirby, you're sure you can't think of a thing that might give us a tip about your son?
No, nothing, Mr. Diamond.
Rick, I'm going down to the station. Find out about that shoe. Then I'll send our rogues gallery over so Mrs. Kirby can try and pick out the two guys who worked her over. Check with me if you find out anything, will you?
Right, Walt.
Mr. Diamond, there's no reason for you to go on with this case. My son's dead. You can't help him now. I'm sure your business is very important.
Mrs. Kirby, I said I'd do something for your son. Well, I was a little late. Now I'm going to do something for me. There's a killer loose, and two slobs who beat up women. I'm a little unhappy, Mrs. Kirby, so I've got to square this beef the only way I know how. First, I'd like to talk to your daughter. Now, look, Gloria. It's tough, and I don't like to stick my big nose in when it is. But you want something done about it, don't you?
Yes.
Then think real hard. Can you tell me anything about your brother that might be connected with his death?
No, Mr. Diamond. I've thought. I just can't understand it.
Well, you may have been looking for the wrong thing, a reason or a motive. That's not what I want.
What do you want?
Something you might not even realize, something that might not seem important, but is very important. Now try to think. When you first began to suspect that your brother was in trouble, did he mention any names, talk about any places?
No. Not that I can remember.
What did he do when he wasn't at his office?
Oh, please. Please, I don't know. I just don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I appreciate what you're doing, Mr. Diamond. Right now it's hard for me. I'll try.
Okay. No places? No names? Did he have a girl?
No, he didn't have a girl. He led a fairly simple life. Had a regular routine.
Routine?
Mom used to worry about it sometimes. Said he didn't have enough fun. Didn't know anybody.
What kind of a routine was this?
Well, the usual thing around the house in the morning. He'd go to work. On his way home, he always stopped at a bar on Columbus Avenue for a beer. Then home. Dinner. Read until 10:30 or 11. Go to bed.
Nothing else?
No, he did that every day. At least up until the time when he started acting funny and I found all that money.
I see. Well, thanks. I'll let you know if anything turns up, Gloria.
Thank you, Mr. Diamond. I hope you...
Yeah. I left the Kirby house and walked out on the street. It was getting near 6 o'clock and a light breeze was blowing the night in. It was turning cold, so I flipped my collar up and started for Columbus Avenue and the bar that Bill Kirby used to stop in for a beer. I turned down 88th Street and picked up speed to shake the chill out of my ankles.
Hey, you.
Yeah?
You Diamond?
So what?
So where's the shoe?
Oh, you're going to find it harder working me over than a couple of women.
Working you over, maybe, yeah. Killing you? Everybody dies easy. Give me the shoe.
Where's your friend?
Move in this alley. I'll give you an introduction.
I'm busy.
You're going to be busy getting dead if you don't get in the alley. I got my gun in my pocket.
I bet you shrink 4 feet when you aren't carrying it.
What? Okay.
Did you get him?
Yeah. But it don't look like he's got the shoe on him.
Yeah, but he knows where it is.
Tell me, boys, is it fun beating up women?
More fun beating up those gumshoes. Ain't it, Danny?
Sure. You want to tell us where the shoe is, Shamus?
Right now, it should be in the police lab.
Hey, Danny, you think those cops really took it out of the house?
I don't know. I couldn't see. Diamond, I still think the old dame gave it to you when she went up to see you at your office this morning.
What did you kill her son for?
Who said I killed him, friend? Kirby got smart about the shoe like you did. He got dead for his trouble. How do you feel about your future, friend?
Pretty good. The cops will figure that shoe out.
Not unless they know what they're looking for. He ain't got the shoe on him, Bart. I think he's telling the truth. Let's go tell the boss.
Yeah, what do we do with the gumshoe?
Oh, I'm surprised at you, Bart. Give me your sap.
Hey, now wait a minute.
For what?
Okay. You gonna knock him off?
I get a salary for killing. The boss ain't paying me to knock this guy off. I want to save him in case he thinks I should later on. Let's go.
It isn't easy coming out of a fast beating. When the guy works you over slow, you don't go to sleep right away. Not until he wants you to anyway. Then he taps you with a good one, and that's it. When he does it in a hurry, the first one's enough to stun a dragon, but for some reason he decides you need a few more. And, friend, that's when coma sets in. When I finally pulled myself out of it, my watch said 7 o'clock, and my head felt like a balloon with rice in it. I finally came around to a reasonable way of thinking and headed for the bar on Columbus Avenue.
Yes, sir? What? Holy Ike.
Give me anything with nerves in it and tell me where your phone is.
Sure. You're a mess.
Yeah, I know. Been advertising a popular cigarette. Been stepping out of thousands of store windows all over the country. Now, where's your phone?
Right over there, the end of the bar. Hey, do you want I should put some plasma in this drink?
Oh, that's a good Jim Dandy.
Lieutenant Levinson, homicide.
Walt, Rick.
Rick, where the devil you been?
Playing patty cake with the two gonnies who worked over Mrs. Kirby and her daughter.
Well, we've been trying to get you. Otis been calling blondes all over town. Mrs. Kirby and her daughter identified the two hoods.
First name's Bart and Danny?
Yeah, Bart Franchetti and Danny Miller. We have a pickup out on them now. They hurt you bad?
Oh, I'll make it, but I'm going to ache for a while. What did you find out about the shoe?
Well, we really got some fast action on those half-soles. Figured if Kirby picked him up at the shoe repair shop, it must have been somewhere in his neighborhood. We were lucky. We were right. Little shoe shop on Columbus Avenue.
Columbus Avenue? What address?
695. Why?
Because I'm in a bar right across the way.
Huh?
Can't see the shoe store now because it's too dark, but Kirby's sister told me you used to come in here for dinner. Hey, you could have watched it then.
Oh, stay there. I'll be right over.
Here you are, mister.
Thanks. Say, did you know Bill Kirby?
The Sharmas? Oh, sure. What do you mean, did I know him?
He's pretty dead.
Oh, no.
He came in here every day, didn't he?
Yeah, for a beer. But come to think of it, I ain't seen him since he left...
Left you what?
Nothing at all.
Now, wait a minute. If Kirby left you anything, let's have it.
If Kirby's dead, I'll turn it over to the cops.
You want the badge?
Oh, well, okay. Why didn't you say so? I got in the cash register. He told me if anything happened to him to turn it over to the law. Okay. Here. Just an envelope.
Thanks.
What is it?
A name and address. Look. Lieutenant Levinson will be here in a few minutes. Tell him I've gone to this address, 18 North River.
That's down near the docks.
Yeah. And tell him I've gone to find a guy named, James Willis.
Continental shipping. Mr. Long, one moment, please. Continental shipping. Mr. Willis, who's calling? One moment, please.
Honey, is Mr. Willis in?
Yes. The emergency hospital's on the second floor.
I always go around this way. It makes people notice me. Which is Mr. Willis's office, dear?
Right over there, but I'm afraid you can't...
Here's the badge, baby.
Oh.
And don't ring him.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Well. James Willis. When did you change your name from Kozlik?
Now, look, Diamond. I've got a good job here. I never could have gotten it if the company had known I was James Kozlik and I'd done time.
In the shipping business, huh? What's an old-time safecracker like you doing in the shipping business?
You're not a cop anymore, Diamond. You helped put me away once, but I've quit the rackets, and I'm doing fine in a legit way. Now you can leave.
What does your company ship?
We're in export and import firm. We ship and receive everything. Now get out.
What does your company import that might interest two professional thugs like Bart and Danny?
What? I don't know what you mean.
Where do you have your shoes fixed? Little place on Columbus Avenue, maybe?
I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't intend to sit here and listen to you and your riddles. Miss Williams, will you please have one of the watchmen sent in to show Mr. Diamond out?
Yes, sir. But two gentlemen wish to see you. They say it's very important.
Well, I can't see anyone.
Well, I think maybe you better. They seem very definite.
Miss Williams, I told...
What's the matter, Mr. Willis?
Diamond, let go of my hair.
Tell her to show the gentleman in, or I'll make Sitting Bull look like a piker. Go on.
Send the two gentlemen in, Miss Williams.
Okay. I'm going over here behind the door. You be a good boy.
You nearly pulled all my hair out.
Well, what's the difference? The way things look, the state might have to shave your head anyway.
Hey, Willis, we want to talk to you.
Well, what's the matter? You sore because we came up here?
Hey, what's with that guy? He just sits there holding his head.
Good evening, boys.
Hey, look who's here.
Yeah, it's the Shamus. And he looked pretty.
You fools, you two blundering fools.
Now, wait a minute. If you're worried about Diamond, we'll take care of him.
I told you I could never be seen with you. You know how we're all watched when the gold shipments come in?
Oh, that's it. That's what the shoe was all about.
Yeah, you're a smart one.
Shut up. I've got to think.
You got the confidential shipping report and put it in that shoe in some kind of code so it could be picked up. Then your dear little boys were going to try to hijack the gold. Well.
Want me to shut him up?
No, you're crazy. That secretary saw him come in. Take him out the same way.
I'm going to be stubborn.
Yeah?
Oh, okay. Isn't it silly what a little 38 can do?
Let's go.
All right, but look, as long as I'm probably going to end up in the river, would you mind telling me one thing?
Yes, I do.
No, that's swell. That's really swell. Kirby recognized you going into that shoe store. He remembered you had a record, so he probably tailed you. Found out where you worked and went back to take a look at that shoe. He found the same thing wrong that I did. The numbers weren't his shoe size, and he probably thought it was crazy when you left only one shoe. So he took the shoe.
You always were a pretty smart cop, Diamond. Danny.
Yeah, boss.
Before you kill the smart cop, pull his hair out.
Pull his hair out?
By the roots. Now take him out of here.
Was Kirby blackmailing you, Willis?
Yes. Being stupid, he didn't know what the shoe was for, but he knew it was worth something. Now, please, Danny, get Mr. IQ through that door.
Move.
Okay.
Mr. Willis.
Yeah,
what's funny, Shamus?
You boys are in for a big surprise.
Oh, Mr. Willis must be free. Here they come now.
Just keep walking, Shamus. Nothing's wrong.
Oh, are you gentlemen through, Mr. Willis?
Yeah, Fatso, go in. He'll see you.
Thank you.
Let's go, Shamus.
Oh, one more thing.
Yeah, now what?
Duck, Rick!
Thanks, Walt.
And you take it easy, Bart.
I ain't going from the gun. I ain't doing nothing. Please, don't shoot.
Walt, James Willis is really James Kosnick. I'm going in after it.
Well, here, Cap, you'll need a gun. Is he in there?
Out the window. I went over to the window fast and spotted my man just dropping down off the fire escape. The building fronted on a long dock, and Willis had 50 yards to go before he could find cover. Then I said that stupid thing. Willis! In the name of the law! Stop! Well, he didn't stop in the name of the law, so I rested my arm on the windowsill and led him about 2 feet. At 50 yards, a running man can be hard to hit with a 38. Sometimes.
You get him, Rick?
Yeah. See you down at the station.
How do you like it, Rick?
No cream. 12 lumps.
All right. Say, I had a phone call from the president of Continental Shipping where that Willis guy worked.
Oh, what do you make this coffee out of? Gunpowder?
He says there's always been a standing reward of $1,000 for the apprehension of any person attempting to rob their shipment.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Diamond. Miss Asher phoned. She wants you should call.
Thanks, Otis.
Thanks. What's wrong with you?
You heard him, Otis. He said thanks.
Okay. He must be sick.
More coffee, Rick?
Yeah, I'll have another cup.
Hello?
Hi, honey.
Rick, where are you? I thought you were coming over.
Well, baby, I've got to stop by and see a nice old lady named Kirby. Her son got killed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Will I see you later?
No, I don't think so, honey. I'm a little tired.
All right, Rick.
Well, don't sound too unhappy. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Well, all right. But you always sing to me, and I wanted you to sing tonight.
Well, I haven't gotten any letters from the apartment building next door yet, so I'm going to lay off 1 week and see if the tenants miss the singing.
All right, Rick. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Goodbye, baby.
Bye, Rick.
Well, I think I'd better get over to Mrs. Kirby's, Walt.
Well, don't you want your coffee?
Yeah, give it to Otis.
What are you going to tell Mrs. Kirby? I mean about her son and the blackmail.
Well, what are you going to tell Continental Shipping?
Well, you caught him. You get the $1,000.
Oh, Mrs. Kirby's pretty broke.
Uh-huh.
Kirby was the one who really spotted the play.
Yeah, but if I say anything about the blackmail...
What blackmail?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, that was another case, wasn't it?
See you later, Walt.
Rick.
Yeah?
Oh, nothing. Be a good boy.
You have just heard Richard Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell. Helen was played by Virginia Gregg, Lieutenant Levinson by Ed Begley. Also in our cast were Wilms Herbert, Stephen Dunn, Peggy Weber, and William Johnstone. Music was under the direction of Frank Worth. Richard Diamond is written by Blake Edwards and directed by Richard Sandell. Dick Powell soon will be seen in the screen version of the best-selling novel, Mrs. Mike. Now, this is Eddie King inviting you to be with us again at the same time next week, when we will again bring you Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, Private Detective.